Hey guys, welcome back. If you're returning, if you're not returning, hi, hello. Um, I just noticed that Gianna, if you're still here, I'm so sorry for not thanking you for the follow. I forgot to put the message up that I can't hear sound alert, so if I missed something, I'm sorry, and I am sorry. But thank you for the follow. I really appreciate it. What else? Something else I wanted to mention. Oh, there's gonna be an ad in like 5 minutes, and I can't stop that. See, usually you can do pre-rolls, and that's what I was trying to do, but Twitch is so fucking stupid, and now it's gonna play another ad. So I'm so sorry about that. The only way to get rid of ads is to subscribe, so you should definitely subscribe, or use an ad blocker. But if you use an ad blocker, then that's not good for me. I lose the ad revenue. So yeah, that's all I want to say. So yeah, ad starts in 3 minutes. I guess I'll just run it now. I can't, it won't let me, because I already ran an ad thinking that I could do it. Okay, well, should we chat for a few minutes before the ad does what it needs to do? I mean, I could, I guess, if you care, if you want to chat about anything. So what's up? What's happening? I don't want to start until like the ad's done, because it's not fair. It's gonna start soon. I can't even like do a run ad because it won't let me. What have you guys been up to? How was your short break away from me if you are returning? If you're not returning, how is your break from me? How is it knowing me now? Oh, that's gonna take forever. You know what? Fuck it. We're just gonna go in. We're gonna start playing. Okay, we're on Serendipity. We're on step 3. I wonder what step 4 is gonna be like. I'm really excited about that. Sorry about the ad that's gonna happen. I don't feel like waiting around. I'm sorry. Litter. Light filtered down through the leaves of an oak tree overhead, casting speckled shadows on the sidewalk all around you. There was a drop of sweat slowly making its way down the side of your face. You flicked it away with your thumb, slowing to a stop in a cool shade. The day had you out and about in town, in no hurry to go anywhere in particular. You had just gotten something to eat, and there was nothing planned for the rest of the afternoon. Your mothers were at work, and Liz had left early in the morning to do something. You had no idea what. You took out your phone, idly noting the time. When it started to jingle, the screen lit up in your hand. Speak of the devil, Liv messaged you. Come home ASAP. Before you could even begin to question why, your phone went off again. Nothing bad, but you have to see this, so come back already. And with the final message, you were left only slightly less confused than you were before. You hadn't seen much of your sister lately. She had been acting strange for days, always shutting herself up in her room. What if she got a puppy? I mean, I doubt she's allowed to have a puppy at school, at university. I mean, maybe that's an emotional support dog. But that's a whole thing. I had to go through that, but I dropped out of school, so. Which wouldn't be so weird if at the dinner table. Which wouldn't be so weird if at the dinner table she didn't suddenly start smirking to herself over nothing. Does she have a boyfriend? The rare times you did see her, she would sneak you unexpected looks, like she was waiting to be asked what was up, but all your questions led nowhere. She'd answer you with a put upon sigh, proclaim that she was busy, and tell you that she would have to talk about it later. No hints, no guessing. Whatever it was, she was determined to keep it a secret. Maybe now you'd finally find out what it was. Does it have to do with Shiloh? Please tell me it doesn't have to do with Shiloh. Girl, did you kidnap this child? As you did an about-face to the sidewalk and started heading home, you received more texts. To your surprise, the name that popped up on the screen this time was Cove's. Did you hear from Liz about some urgent thing you have to see? She messaged Cove too. You weren't surprised. Liz teased him about it, but he was like family. However, you were struggling to understand how he fit into Liz's surprise. Yeah, Liz sent me the same thing. What is it? Is there something on fire? Why would Liz tell you her news? That's a great fucking question. Why would Liz tell you her news? This might be really big. His reply came only seconds later as she waited to cross the street. Come on, don't say that. It'll make me nervous. Okay. Thanks. Are you gonna see what's up? I'm walking home now. Me too. Glancing up, you saw the light had changed to a walk sign while you were busy texting. You hurriedly wrapped things up, texting Cove a quick goodbye before crossing the street. Girl, just do that after you cross the street. It's not gonna take, like, what? 5-10 seconds to cross the street? It was fine, you'd be seeing him later anyway. Not expecting any more messages, you put your phone away so you could walk without having to worry about tripping over the curb. Thankfully, it was a short trek home. Soon enough, you were walking up your street, the familiar face of your house already in view. Not my house having a face. Thinking of what might be waiting at home was making you worried, left you entirely lost. It felt exciting. She said it was nothing bad, but I feel lost. If she didn't tell me that it wasn't something bad, then I'd definitely be like, oh my gosh, I'm worried. And the more you learned, the more questions you had. They were all buzzing around in your head. Too many to try to pick out and make sense of. Lost in your thoughts, you almost didn't see who was walking further up the street. Cove. Even from the back, the bright sea green color of his hair was unmistakable. You quickened your pace to catch up to him. The scuff of your shoes loud against the pavement. He heard instantly, not missing a beat as he turned towards you and slowed his steps in sync. Aww, that's so cute. He knows it's me. Hey, princess. Hi. Here we are, at my house. At that, Cove gave you a wry smile. Here we are. It sounded almost like a question, wondering why the two of you had been summoned there. Any ideas on what Liz wants us for? If I could read, I'd be so fucking powerful. You shook your head. The situation was out of character for your sister. Anything could happen. Well, I guess we should go and find out. Taking his cue, you grabbed your keys and opened the front door. Cove trailed behind you as you entered. You walked through the open door and peered about, not sure what you were looking for. From the entryway, you could see Liz pacing across the living room, her smile gazing intent on her phone. You had caught her just as she had completed a turn. Behind you, the door clicked shut. The second she heard it, her head darted up in your direction, her features lighting up at the sight of you and Cove. Ah, you've arrived, and together too. That's perfect, just perfect. She flashed you a radiant smile. You could almost see her limbs vibrating as if she was poised to pounce. Cove raised an eyebrow at your sister's bizarre behavior. What's going on? This better be important. You're in a good mood today. So what is it? Where is it? What were you going to show us? You quietly waited to see what she would reveal. Tell me, what'd you get? Liz laughed at your rapid-firing questioning. Calm down. You'll see. Liz's eyes narrowed with mischievous glint as she let out a little cackle. You know what? I know that we're adopted, but Liz does favor mom. Not mom, but like mommy. She favors mommy. So lately, it's been hard at work. I've been hard at work on a little plan of mine, and you two get the honor of seeing it all come together. Here it is. A surprise! She lifted a hand in the air to present the very comfortable but completely mundane living room. In the resulting silence, you and Cove glanced around again, and then made eye contact with each other. His face mirrored your bafflement. Then suddenly another voice rang out in the room. Surprise! Ah! Cove flinched at the shout, his shoulders shooting up to his ears. Laughter came from your sister as well as from the other side of the room. I knew it. I knew Shiloh was here. Your head whipped around just in time to see a familiar figure with a freckled face and a purple cap springing up from behind the back of the couch. Cove's mouth fell open, recognition immediately coming to him. Now, Liz, as a 20-year-old, why do you have this, 16? This 16-year-old child in the house with you by yourself? What is the purpose? I'm questioning you. I'm questioning your motives. What is happening here? Shiloh. Hi, Cove. Hi, princess. Shiloh greeted the two of you so casually, like he'd been gone for 10 days rather than for 10 years. Shiloh, you were too stunned to speak. What in the world were you doing there? Great question. You started laughing, but I thought you weren't the Shiloh we knew. You're actually here. Yeah, let's question this bitch. Why are you playing games? The initial shock quickly wore off. You crossed your arms and leveled a look at the freckled face who had ditched you at the start of summer. He treated you and Liz like complete strangers. Shiloh shifted nervously and angling the brim of his hat down as if to hide from your scrutiny. Liz tutted at your comment. Don't be rude. I'll explain. When we got home that day, I changed my mind about letting it go. Why did I have to? Social media exists, right? So I thought, why not try finding him and sending him a little reminder message? Luckily, there are only so many 17-year-old Shiloh Phillips in the world. It wasn't that hard to do. 17. Man, this is not okay behavior. Hearing Liz speak seemed to encourage Shiloh, who pulled himself together to face both you and your sister with a careful smile. Now, if we grew up together, like grew up together. He moved away when he was like, what? We were 8? No. Yeah. We were 8, I think. We were like 8 or 9, and Shiloh was like a year or two younger than us. If we had all grown up together, like through adolescence and everything too, this wouldn't be that weird. But because, why is my face doing that? Why did that happen? I didn't even press anything. But because, like, he went away for like several years, it's very weird. This is very weird behavior. Hearing Liz speak seemed to encourage Shiloh, who pulled himself together to face both you and your sister with a careful smile. I'm really sorry about what happened. When you talked to me the first time, I was in middle school. I was in the middle of a tour for a school field trip. I couldn't get separated from the group and didn't expect anyone to want to be talking to me. I was so worried about getting back to everyone, I didn't think too hard on what you were saying. But when Liz's message showed up, everything suddenly hit me. Lizzie, Princess, Cove, you were the kids at Sunset Bird, back when I was a little kid. There's no way I could forget that. Not for real. I do know all of you. I'm so happy to get to see you again. I have Lizzie to thank for that. Mom's already planning to take a short trip near here this summer. If my mom could bring me along, Lizzie offered to pick me up and bring me the rest of the way here just so I could visit the neighborhood again. And that's why I decided to make it a big reveal. Instead of outright telling you two, I got back in contact with Shiloh. Once again, she lifted a hand in the air, properly presenting that long-lost childhood friend you all shared. I'm struggling. So, ta-da! It was impressive how it all came together. Alright, still pretty stupid of you not to realize sooner. I don't think I'm gonna say that to him. You were glad they were able to see each other again. You were amused at their stunt. You were unsure what to feel. I'm unsure what to feel. I have many feelings. You glanced between Liz's face and Shiloh's. The expectant smile she wore had you reflectively smiling back, but your heart wasn't in it. Ooh. Cove blinked slowly, still a little dazed by everything that was going on. Okay, I'm going to go get some water. Don't disappear or anything. He padded off to the kitchen. No need for a chaperone. He knew where the cups were. He knows where the cups are. He's been here 1,000 times. Wow, you really surprised him, Lizzie. And Princess, too. Did you see their face when I appeared? Yes, I did. Liz patted the cushioned front of the couch. Make yourself comfortable. You don't have to keep hunkering down behind there anymore. With a laugh, Shiloh crossed Shiloh crossed around backside and took the seat, but maybe it was awkward being the only one sitting because he kept idly twiddling his fingers. You could hear him humming to himself, a nonsense tune with no real melody, something to keep his voice busy. Being here again could be more nerve-wracking for him than he let on. Cove's soft voice announced his return. He paused to drag the back of his hand across his mouth, wiping away what droplets of water lingered there. Hi, Shiloh. Welcome back. At Cove's confused greeting, Shiloh laughed cheerily. I think it's amazing you're all still here in the same neighborhood. It's just like how it was way back then. With a giggle that implied differently, Liz nodded in your general direction. There have been some changes since then. You narrowed your eyes at Liz. There was no way you could miss the teasing look she was fixing you and Cove with. Shell's eyes shifted across the group, still smiling politely, but there was a slight tilt in his eyebrows. He didn't know what to make of what she was saying, that is, until Cove cleared his throat and spoke. Princess and I are dating. It was fascinating how red he got as he said it. His voice was steady, confident, but now most people knew you were going out. Shillow's eyes went as wide as saucers, mouth opening into a tiny O shape. Oh, thank you for the congratulations, Shiloh. The two of you seem to like each other even when we were kids. It's really sweet that you're together. You slightly blushed. Cove's got himself a keeper. Yeah, it's pretty inevitable we'd end up together. I wouldn't want to be with anyone else. You just want a Cove. Yeah, it was pretty inevitable. Like, this is bound to happen. I planned it. I planned this to happen. You said so, playing with the lackadaisical tone of voice. At that, Cove openly laughed, his face going even redder. You liked the sound of his laughter, warm and delighted, like he wouldn't have it any other way. Shiloh sighed happily at the moment as Cove raised an eyebrow and gave the room a considering glance. Hey, this is where we met the first time, remember? Right after I moved in, me and Princess were brought down right here to have a playdate with you? Yeah. Shiloh laughed, his eyes downcast as he fiddled with the corner of his collared shirt. We almost didn't meet in the living room because you wanted to jump out the window to get away from me. Cove cringed at the memory of his younger self being pushed back to the forefront of his mind. His mouth going tight, he awkwardly looked away from Shiloh. You have a good memory. Oh, I don't think so. Seeing this place again just brings lots of things back. He clapped his hands together, an idea suddenly coming to him. But hey, now that our group is together, would you want to go out and visit some of the old places? I've been hiding in the living room since I got here. Liz wasn't afraid to laugh at herself, bringing a hand to her chest to silently take the blame for that. I'd love to. Yeah. Without missing a beat, the others turned to you for your answer. Definitely where to go first, why not? Where to first? I'm sure we'll figure it out along the way. Let's go to the park. I miss my park. And with that, the four of you headed out into the neighborhood as one. Even with how short the time you spent indoors was, the sun was momentarily blinding once you left the house. Squinting, you brought your hand up to shield your eyes. The pleasant summer day had yet to go away, only a few wispy clouds drifted along in the sky. As you strolled down the way, Liz took the lead, followed by you and Cove, walking side by side. Shiloh freely took to walking in the middle of the road, his arms idly swinging back and forth at his sides as he turned his head every which way to take in as much as he could. It was very much a trip down memory lane for him. He wondered how much the neighborhood had changed in his eyes. Not a word passed between the group about where you were heading first, but soon enough you found yourselves walking the usual path to the shopping street. Before you reached it, the sounds of it did. A collective of sandals tracking sand, the shrill calls of seagulls, the overlapping conversations of beachgoers, and random strains of music from various stalls. Wow! The odd gasp came from Shiloh. His eyes were all lit up. Were there always so many different stores in one place? Oh, she just answered for me. Wow! I can see why so many people come here. Hey, do they still have those nice little ice cream stands? Yeah, that hasn't changed. Yay! We should get some. It'll be my treat. Thanks, Shiloh. The ice cream sounds perfect on such a hot day. How about you, Cove? You could see that, unlike Liz, Cove was struggling with the decision, brow wrinkled in thought. Finally, a hesitant smile appeared on his face as he settled on keeping to the spirit of the special occasion. Yeah, sounds good to me. Awesome. And Princess? I like that, thanks. I don't want any. I'd rather pay for myself. I'll buy one for me and one for you, Shiloh. I don't want one, but I'll pay for yours, Shiloh. I'll buy one for me and one for you, Shiloh. What is this called? Reparations? I don't think I'm using that word right. But if you remember back when we were babies, we used his money to buy ice cream. And then he gave me the majority of it. And I feel bad. So I'm gonna buy you an ice cream. Oh? Alright. What? Shiloh's voice rose an octave, so taken off guard that you would offer such a thing. You never let me do anything for you when we were kids. Now that you're here to visit, you gotta let me treat you for a change. Aw, that's really sweet. Red-faced, Shiloh gave a helpless chuckle. Alright, I'd like it a lot if you paid for me. Finally, you were pleased to hear that. Shiloh was still his overly generous self, but not everything was the same. If it had been that time from when you were kids, the two of you might have gone back and forth on this forever. Liz not so subtly sidled up to you, her shoulder bumping against yours with a smirk. What a goody two-shoes. You rolled your eyes at the childish insult, but you knew she didn't mean it. She was happy to see you getting along with Shiloh. The four of you continued to walk as ice cream plans were further discussed. Are you getting a popsicle, Lizzie? Yes. Hearing that, Shiloh smiled shyly. I thought you might still like that. I'm gonna get an ice cream cone. Shiloh began to turn towards Cove, but before he could ask, Cove offered up his choice. I'll get an ice cream sandwich. What am I gonna get? A popsicle? I'm gonna get an ice cream cone. If it's soft serve ice cream, even better. Shiloh had the right idea for this one. It was the best choice. There was an ice cream stall further up the street, across from the souvenir shop, displaying postcards of the seaside saltwater taffy in its window. Saltwater taffy is actually so good. It's like, I'm trying to think of like what it is. It's like Laffy Taffy. It's like Laffy Taffy. It's the same, but it's good. Like, I think Laffy Taffy is also good. But yeah, don't hate on saltwater taffy. The scent itself was already hard to miss with its pastel pinks and blues and its eye-catching postcards, listing every individual flavor. I couldn't think of what I was trying to say. That's why I stopped like that. It was impossible to ignore once the catchy little jingle playing from its speakers were added. Shiloh greeted the owner and began picking up the treats that everyone had chosen. He paid for the others, stepping aside to let you buy his as he handed the rest of out to their respective owners. You picked out your choice too and added that to your purchase, sinking your teeth into an ice cream cone. Do you guys sink your teeth into ice cream cones? Hold on, we gotta stop. Do you bite your ice cream? Or do you lick your ice cream? Like, if you're having soft serve ice cream, are you a biter or are you a licker? I'm a biter, but I'm also a licker. Like, if it's starting to melt real fast, that's when I gotta start chomping. But I can lick any other time. I just feel like that's the thing, because some people get really weirded out when like they're like watching me eat ice cream. But first of all, why are you watching me eat this ice cream? And second, like, it's my life, it's my choice, it's my ice cream. Mind your business. Like, stop being a hater. You wish you had the courage to bite your ice cream. Sinking your teeth into your ice cream cone, you relish the sweet chill it left in your mouth. I want ice cream now. Liz was right. This was a perfect treat for the summer day. Around you, everyone was eating at their own pace. Liz held her popsicle away from herself, careful not to let it drip onto her dress. She was trying to go about eating it delicately as she could, while Shiloh dug into his. You counted only 2 or 3 bites left before Cove had devoured his sandwich. Shiloh laughed, also noticing the way Cove inhaled his food. It's already finished? Cove shrugged a little in reply, his attention more focused on crumpling up the sandwich wrapper in his hand. So, what have you been doing around here since I've been gone? Well, I already told you about me attending college away from here, so I don't really live here anymore. But to be more specific of my life, pursuing a degree in architecture. Shiloh perked up at that, his mouth falling open in awe. Amazing. Actually, I was thinking about it, and the first time I really decided I liked buildings and building them was when you and I would make sandcastles out on the beach. Okay, so she's given up on her pro golf lifestyle. Got it. Aw, Lizzie. At such a sincere admission from your sister, all Shiloh could do was blush and lower his head, too flattered to know what else to say. Liz laughed, just as flustered, though she had been the one to say it. The atmosphere was awkward, but not unpleasant. Shiloh shyly glanced over at you and Cove. Then, what about you two? What have you been up to? Me and Princess just graduated high school. I've got a part-time job. I volunteered this organization to clean up stuff. Things like that. You nod along with Cove. You idly explain how you're doing normal things. That's a secret. You explain how you had a lot of plans. I'm mainly taking it easy right now, honestly. Yeah. It's summer, after all. I want to make the most of it while I can. Cove nodded along with you. It was a sentiment he shared. Shiloh just seemed happy to hear it. Being around him again was a little like picking up an old forgotten habit. Clunky at first, but as the four of you talked, it started to come more naturally. I do have a question. Guys, can you hear the audio? Like the voice acting that's happening? Because if not, I can like change some things around. I just want to make sure you guys can hear it. And when one of you ran out of things to say, suddenly someone else remembered something new. Oh, right! Do you remember the mean old, not actually grandparents that used to live in our neighborhood? Yeah, they were so mean. Well, they're not there anymore. Oh no! They're not spending summers here anymore. They're still alive. I mean, how do we know that for certain, though? Like, how do we really know? Thank goodness. It helped that Shiloh was just as eager to hear what had gone on in his absence as people were to tell him. Soon everyone threw out the trash they had in the nearby garbage can as your group made their way down to the beach. Going down the shore inevitably led to a certain spot. Is it my park? What does it look like? Is it okay? It didn't take long for Shiloh to recognize what was in the distance. His words trailed off in the middle of a sentence, his footsteps faltering at first. Then, all at once, he broke away from the group and dashed right into the old park, giggling as he ran. Oh, Shiloh's so cute. Hey, so looks good. Oh, everything's so small. His laughter petered out as he came to a stop by the swings and grabbed hold of one of the support poles. He walked in a little circle around it, marveling at how easily his hands wrapped around its entirety. Emboldened by Shiloh's enthusiasm, Liz plopped herself down in one of the swing seats, only to instantly show an expression of regret. There was no way she was comfortable in that tiny seat so low to the ground. Not with how she had to scrunch up her legs to fit there. Shiloh creeped up behind her. He took hold of the chains on her swing, one in each hand. What are you doing? And with a grin, Shiloh started walking back. Liz shifted in her seat to look at him. You cannot be trying to push me. These are made for kids. It's never gonna work. But Shiloh just hummed and kept pulling her back. Resigning herself to her fate, Liz tucked her legs up as much as possible as Shiloh moved his hands to her back. With a running start, he got her forward and up as far as he could go before jumping out of the way. Liz had her eyes squeezed shut, a screech escaping her as the swing started falling backwards, and when it swung back around, there was Shiloh again to push her. She couldn't kick the ground like when we were kids. Her legs were too long for that now, but Shiloh was pushing her enough to keep the momentum going. The air was filled with wild laughter and the almost rhythmic jangle of swing chains. Cove sat against the bars of the jungle gym, wearing a bent smile as he watched them. He was fiddling with something, turning it over and over in his hands. When you craned your neck to get a better view, he obligingly lifted it for you to see. Is it a shell? It was a piece of a shell, one side rough and a molted gray, the other side completely smooth, revealing a faint blue sheen when it caught the light. Ooh, you know how I know my boyfriend. Look at me go. I saw it on the beach. It's nice, isn't it? Yeah, it's a good one. No, I meant Shiloh. He seems more confident than I remember. Oh yeah, he grew up. I think so too. You found it amazing to play with Shiloh at the park again. That was crazy how much time had gone by. Why don't you push me on the swings like that? With the conversation there. Why don't you push me on the swings like that? Cove raised an eyebrow at you, as if the idea had just occurred to him. I didn't know you wanted me to. Well, he had you there. You should just know. We should just preemptively know, Cove. Soon your sister began to speak out. All right, I'm ready to get off now. How do you stop this? Girl, just put your legs down. You'll be fine. Don't worry. Shiloh braced himself, one foot planted forward as the swing started coming back down. Then, in one quick motion, he reached up and caught the chains again. The impact of his feet skidding back in the sand, but he kept his stance ready. Steady. He kept it steady. He kept it ready, too. If Liz was surprised at something suddenly being brought to a halt, she didn't show it, only tilting her head up to smile at him. Shiloh had yet to catch his breath, though returned the smile just as brightly. He let go of the chains, walking around the swing set and briefly rubbing his hands together before offering one to Liz, which she graciously accepted, needing the help to get out of the tiny seat. Then the two of them made their way back over to you and Cove. Liz was looking more ruffled than usual, and her sun hat was off kilter, having held on for dear life for the entire ride. She took a moment to straighten her outfit back into place. That looked like fun. It was. Even though you were just pushing me on the swings? Yep, that was the fun part. Hey, Shiloh, you've got an idea of what our lives have been like since you've been gone, but I've been wondering what happened to you after you moved away. Shallow's eyes went wide, as if it was surprising to hear. You couldn't recall him talking about himself when you were all telling stories, but maybe he hadn't been able to find the right timing. He brought his hand to his chin, tapping it thoughtfully as he looked up and to the side. Well, what happened was my mom decided to move back to the south, closer to where I was born. We stayed there for a few years until she got another job offer in California again, thanks to a connection she had here. It was a really good job at a private boarding school, so she decided to take it. With a wide grin, he said the next part. And as a bonus, her kid, me, gets to attend the school and live in the dorms for free. I've been there since my second year of middle school. Pretty soon, I'm going to be starting my last year of high school. Liz leaned towards him with an attentive smile on her face. Now, I understand that he gets free, room and board, but, wouldn't you want to live at home? You know what, maybe not. Maybe not. I know I didn't want to live with my mom when I was a teenager. I still don't really want to live with her now, but maybe, I don't know, it seems easier that way. Well, maybe not. Because you live with your mom. She can, cook you food, but, they have food at the cafeteria at the private school. It really just depends on how the food's being served, honestly. That's my biggest concern. My biggest concern is the food. Liz leaned towards him with an attentive smile on her face. Have you been doing well there? Getting good grades? Got any friends? As Liz's questions, Shiloh held his hands in front of himself as if they were physical things he could stave off. Yeah, to everything. It can be a little hard sometimes because of how people are in that school, but I'm happy. How people are? Cove couldn't guess what that meant, but Liz folded her arms, scowling. Don't tell me there's more people like that Nate guy hanging around. Shiloh rubbed his cheek, laughing nervously. He glanced from the bars to the jungle gym to the laces of his shoes to the trees swaying in the distance, unsure of where to rest his gaze. Not exactly. Nate doesn't mean to be mean. He just kind of is. He's the school's #1 performer for athletics and academics. He always takes on so much responsibility that the only possible way he can finish it all is if he absolutely, I'm gonna start that sentence over. He always takes up on, oh my god. Oh my god. Hold on. He is the school's #1 performer for athletics and academics. He always takes on so much responsibility that the only possible way he can finish it all is if absolutely nothing goes wrong. Why do they make these sentences so fucking meaty? But that's impossible. He's always stressed and ready to snap. He can't handle it when someone seems to be causing a problem. That's why during the field trip, he was upset when I went off on my own like that. Still, he's really smart and reliable, and sensitive, and he cares a lot. Most of the time, he doesn't even realize his way of dealing with stuff upsets other people. Cove had a patient smile on his face, listening earnestly as Shiloh rattled off his list of Nate's good traits. You know him pretty well. Are you actually friends? Well, not exactly. Me and Nate are in the same after-school group. About once a month, me and 6 other students and supervisor get together to talk. Oh, are you in therapy? We did all last year, and I think next year we're going to be in the same group again. I hope so. Nice, that's weird. Why would you want to be in the group with him? I'm glad Nate's not so bad after all. You didn't comment. I want to know about this group. Well, I don't have any words. Personally, I'd still appreciate having a word with Nate about his communication skills. Her tone of voice was low and pointed. You'd be worried for Nate if not for the playful smile that accompanied her words. Shiloh let out a little laugh at that. I do have Nate's number, but he wouldn't pick up. The people in my group only answer when they feel like hearing from me, so usually I have to wait for them to call. Aww, Shiloh. Either that, or they never even consider answering my calls, or calling me, or talking to me at all. Both supervisor forces them to. Aww, Shiloh. Are you a weirdo? That's okay, Shiloh. I'm a weirdo too. It was such a bleak description of his dynamic with his group. But he didn't seem to realize it until he glanced up and saw the concerned look on everyone's faces. His smile fell. He hastened to add one more thing. Well, except for except for one who'll always answer for sure. Oh? She immediately perked up. So, that's a friend of yours? He hesitated to answer, something Cove picked up on. Not exactly. Yeah, I'd like to be friends though. Alright. Liz crossed her arms together once more, grim-faced like she was the commander of a ship about to lead her little crew into battle. You should call them. Right now. What? If you want to be friends with them, I can help. If you're going to be in the same group again, then you should at least try to get along. No, I couldn't. He quickly grew flustered, his tongue stumbling over his sentences. I don't want to be a bother. Liz, what are we gonna do? Watch him while he talks to someone on the phone? No, Cove. Shiloh. The last syllable of Shiloh's name trailing off into nothing. It soon became clear Liz had not fully thought out the plan yet, but she wouldn't be Liz if she stopped there. Shiloh? Could you put them on video call and we could all talk together? Of course. She clapped her hands together, a wide smile on her face that didn't leave room for dissenting opinions. It's a good idea. It'll work. It's a great idea. It's a terrible idea. Cole's right. That's a terrible idea. I am not backing up on this, Liz. Shiloh, you don't have to listen to her. Oh, alright. Listen, you. A roll of her eyes, as if you were the one with the ridiculous idea. Come on, Shiloh. We'll just talk to them. Say that we're friends from out of town. The worst that could happen is nothing changes. But once they have more chances to talk to you, I know they'll be convinced to be better friends. It's gonna turn out okay. Shiloh sought to answer, but his hand was already hovering over one of the pockets of his pants. Alright, we can talk. Yes! Who is it? Is it a girl? Liz clenched a hand into a fist, cheering as Shiloh officially reached into the pocket and pulled out his phone. You noticed it was the same type of model as your own, but his had a red case around it. The screen lit up and Shiloh requested the video call with some number in his contacts. None of them on the list had names. He must remember what number belongs to what person. Oh my gosh. He inched closer to the three of you so everyone could hear better. Vaguely, you wondered how this looked from the outside. 4 teenagers on the verge. Oh, first of all, 3 teenagers, because Liz is 20. Vaguely, you wondered how this would look from the outside. 4 teenagers on the verge of adulthood, hanging out on the old playground, all huddled up around a single phone. Strange? Suspicious? Very. The ringing of the phone broke you out of your musings. You kept your eyes on it, your heart beating at the end of each dial tone, thinking, could this be it? Only to have another start up? It had been ringing for a while when you started to think of what Cove said about all of you watching as Shiloh talked on the phone. Maybe even that wouldn't happen. Shiloh could sense the awkwardness in the air, smiling to try to dispel it. This is normal. Don't worry. Just as he said it, the call ended, not even going to voicemail. Shiloh clicked to redial. He never answers on the first call. He always does this on the second. That's how he is, at least with most people. There are exceptions. You and Liz and Cove furtively shared ambiguous looks, none of you wanting to accidentally discourage Shiloh. Then you focused on the phone again as it started to ring once more. The jingling suddenly cut off in the middle, followed by a faint sound of white noise. With a big smile and flushed cheeks, Shiloh brought the phone up to his face. A voice low and groggy, kept rasping out of the speakers. Hello? Shiloh, on the other hand, was much more chipper. I'm visiting a town I used to live in when I was little. I wanted to introduce my group mate to the people I knew back then. Some of them have already met Nate. Can you say you hated them? And with that rushed introduction, Shiloh stuck the phone out towards Cove, gesturing for him to greet the person on the other end. Although Cove hadn't been on board in the beginning, the indication of that now was the lopsided tilt of his smile. He turned his gaze to the screen, opening his mouth to speak, only to stutter to a complete stop. Uh-huh. All Cove could do was sputter and gape at the screen. His reaction had Shiloh's brow crinkling in worry. What? Shillow's groupmate didn't sound particularly impressed with how this conversation was going so far. What the fuck is happening? Shiloh frowned, retracting his arm away from Cove. As he did so, the screen tilted towards you, and you caught a glimpse of what was on the screen. Is it Baxter? Who the hell? Jeremy! Not this kid. I was hoping to never see him again. Light green hair, sharp orange eyes, shadowed with bags, and icy pale skin, all tied together to make up the scowling face of a person who clearly had no desire to be here. You had no idea what was going on. You knew him. I know the scum. A flood of memories arose, flashes at that one summer years ago at this very same park. You holding onto an arrangement of fruit, Derek and Cove at your side. And that kid, mean as a tiny chihuahua, snapping at everyone who dared to come close. Are you Jeremy? The bowl cut kid. What if I did? You screamed. Quick, hang up the phone. Wow, you're a lot better looking now. That's so fucking rude. I'm definitely saying that. I'm definitely saying that. Jeremy drew back, his nose wrinkling in disgust.
You think I'm appealing? What kind of messed up taste do you have?
That's an insult to yourself. Oh. He has a nice voice.
And?
Cove still couldn't take his wide eyes off the phone. He spoke now in a very small voice, almost a squeak. Jeremy?
Yeah?
His reply was mildly annoyed at this point. How did you know his name was Jeremy?
You didn't tell them?
No, I only called you somebody from my group at school. Jeremy regarded Cove cautiously, for the first time giving the situation a little of his focus. Cove bristled, sucking in a long, deep, dramatic breath. And all at once, he started shouting, and not just with his voice. He waved his arms around, gesturing wildly with his hands as he repeatedly yelled, "Oh my god," with all sorts of inflections. What is wrong with you? Oh my god, oh my god. And at these antics, Jeremy gave a short huff of a sigh through his teeth, the sound teeny over the phone speakers. What is this, Shiloh? Are you trying to make me suffer? Are you still mad about what happened at the amusement park? I was on your side, you know. Liz, who had been entirely lost this whole time, finally spoke up. I mean, he does look a lot better now. He does. He's a lot better looking. Now he doesn't have that bowl cut, no stupid glasses. I'm not saying glasses are ugly or make you look stupid or anything. It was just him. It was just him. His personality was trash. What happened at the amusement park? No one paid that question any mind. I don't know what's going on. Have you met each other before? Nope. It was an immediate reply from Jeremy, but those stinging eyes squinted. Wait. I don't feel like holding my nose anymore doing that. There was a flash of recognition there as he leaned his head forward and scrutinized the both of you. His already wide frown somehow found a way to grow deeper at his realization. I love that. The screen instantly went blank. Shiloh gasped, looking from his phone to the rest of the group. He hung up. Jeremy doesn't just hang up on people like that. What happened? Don't look at me. I had never met the kid before. You could feel Cove's stare poking and prodding at the side of your head. You caught his expression, wide-eyed and tense. You knew what happened. Cove knew what happened, but he wasn't going to give any answer to Shiloh. I mean, Shiloh, if you want to know, I'll tell you what happened. Well, in the past, I punched him. I punched him, he earned it. You what? Princess, really? You resisted the urge to grin and simply shrugged. I'm gonna call him back. You can make up. Don't do that. He got what was coming to him. I do feel bad about it. Why do you care? He got what was coming to him. I'm not apologizing, this punk. Shovel's gaze met yours for a split second. You couldn't quite read his expression, and then he turned his attention back to redialing the number. The phone rang for a long time, long enough that he was surprised when Jeremy actually picked it up. He answered with an even longer sigh. Shiloh held the phone close to his face, looking down at the screen with large, apologetic eyes. Are you okay? I'd be better if you hadn't called back. Oh, Jeremy, can we talk it over? I don't want any of us fighting. Yeah, I think so. Shiloh held out his phone towards you and Cove once more. Next to you, Cove glared defensively and silently. You also refused to speak. Hi there, this is a bad idea. I'm glad you remember me. Sorry for hitting you. I'm not apologizing. I'm glad you remember me. Not me antagonizing him. A small smile played at your lips. You wondered how much of an impression you had made on past Jeremy. Finally, Jeremy's shoulders dipped slightly. He made the most exaggerated sigh you'd ever heard, since the previous one at least. I don't remember exactly what I did or what I said to you, but sorry. What? Cove sighed yet again. Jeremy sighed yet again. You were sensing a pattern. His gaze rolled over to Cove. I do know what I was like as a kid. Oh, well, okay, but who's that apology for? It better be for me and Princess. He spoke sternly. Babe, what are you gonna do? You gonna hit him? You can't. He's on the phone. Cove, we all know that I am the macho one in this relationship. And that's okay. I'll hit a bitch for you any day, Cove. He spoke sternly, though there was no hiding the shakiness present. That didn't matter. Cove coming to your defense was confronting Jeremy brought a warm smile to your face. Jeremy, on the other hand, continued to be unimpressed. The corner of his lip twitched. I didn't need to know what that teenage guy equivalent of a smushy squeak is, but now I do. Thanks for that. Hold on. Watch yourself, Jeremy. Watch yourself, because I'll follow Shiloh home, and I'll kick your ass. A small, offended noise escaped Cove. Unfortunately, it was also squeaky sounding. His face immediately burned red with embarrassment. Oh my god. Hey, that's my squeaky toy you're talking about. No. What a perfect description. Cove is exactly that. I'm not gonna bully my man in front of this bitch. That's it. You better not step foot in this town again. Catch me outside. How about that? Taking a small step forward, your hands instinctively curled into fists. You couldn't believe at the first chance he got, Jeremy insulted Cove again. There was no missing the small snort next to you. Cove couldn't help but smile at you standing up for his pride. Jeremy didn't react at all. He continued watching the four people on the other end of this unwanted call lackadaisically. The apology is for whoever. Anyone who had to deal with me back then wasn't having a good time. Princess just had the spine not to take it, and that's whatever. Amazed, Cove took a few processing moments before he could respond. He blinked and rubbed the back of his neck. Oh, thanks. I mean, it's no problem. You just looked away. I still got my eyes on you. I accept your apology. Thank you, Jeremy. This is honestly incredible. Okay, then. I've still got my eyes on you. Okay? Be careful. Be careful. Watch your back. Already you were bracing yourself for whatever this conversation was going to take you. For wherever. Jeremy rolled his eyes. Whatever. Following Cove's eye, you watched it dart from Shiloh to Jeremy, openly wondering what had happened to Jeremy over these past few years. So, you're nice now? I wouldn't say nice. No. I don't remember tantrums or pick fights anymore, but I'm not nice. Jeremy shook his head in disbelief. That squeaky toy comment wasn't a compliment, you know. Yeah, we know. That's why I said I was gonna fucking fight you. I don't have the energy to get angrily worked up like I used to as a kid. It's all pointless anyway. Now I'm just miserable. Aww. But honestly, why are you miserable? Are you in therapy? Do you seek help? I hope you're okay. Like, do I want to beat you up? Yeah, I do. But do I wish bad things to happen to you? Not anymore. So I hope you're okay. His tone was even grumblier than usual. He dragged the syllables out on the last word for extra emphasis. Oh. An awkward laugh escaped Shiloh, then his mouth pulled into a demure smile. Don't let what Jeremy says about himself get you down. He's got people who care about him and make sure he's okay. Like me. Don't listen to Shiloh. It's nice you're looking out for someone else, Shiloh. I don't really care if Jeremy is sad or not, no. I'm so over the fact that the two of you actually know each other. You didn't say anything. It's nice you're looking out for someone else, Shiloh. Shiloh blushed at the compliment, while Jeremy fixed you with a blank stare. Thanks, Princess. Okay, seriously? How long am I meant to be out of the loop here? Ma'am, I told you about Jeremy like way back when, I'm pretty sure. Her expression twisted into a frustration as Liz rubbed her right temple. Why am I the only one who doesn't know this kid? Shiloh goes to school with him, and that's fine, but how did the two of you meet him and I didn't? Maybe if you weren't being a bitch when you were younger, you would have met him too. I'm gonna explain. You were there, I think. He was around town one summer, maybe 5 years ago. Is that all? Well, Liz seemed to be a bit underwhelmed. Shiloh appeared to be utterly amazed. You had to hold back a small laugh, just a smidgen of a laugh. You knew Jeremy as a little kid? What was he like? I've only known him for a year and a half. Well, his voice immediately hushed into nothing. You could see Cove wince just thinking on those past encounters. You reflected on that as well. Actually, Cove does a good Jeremy impression. Why would you do that instead? Cove, let him have it. Let him have it. Oh, you get an impression of me, huh? Cove's body stiffened in fear. Oh my god, Cove. Cove is so traumatized. I'm so sorry. If I had known you'd have been traumatized like this, I wouldn't have said it. You know what? I should have known. Because he was saying, oh my god, oh my god. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for throwing you to the dogs, Cove. Jeremy leaned forward just a bit. Sure, go ahead. Do it. Jeremy spoke dispassionately, but it somehow still felt like a dare. Yeah, that'd be great. Cove shifted nervously on his feet and took a deep breath in and out to calm himself. Okay, I can do it. Yay! Amused, you watch as Cove closed his eyes and recalled the memory. His brows furrowed and his mouth pulled into a harsh frown.
Everyone is so dumb. There's not a single good thing in this world, and every bad thing that happens is targeting me personally. I hate people, and phone calls are stupid. Why does anyone have to talk to me?
Bravo, it's like I've gone back in time. You laughed. Going on vacation is torture, quietly not approval. It's like going back in time. The impression never failed to entertain you, but your interjection broke Cove's character as he smiled. Jeremy's expression didn't give away a single sign of what he might have been thinking. He stared blankly for the duration of it all. Yeah, that sounds about right. I could probably try to do an impression of what I remember you being like back then, but it doesn't seem like you've changed much. I don't want to make you cry. That'd be awkward. You could feel Cove bristling next to you as Jeremy spoke so matter-of-factly. It was hard to tell if he meant to be rude or was just making an honest assessment of Cove. I think it's both. I do think it's both. Cove is still a big crybaby, and that's okay. He's my crybaby. That's my man. I'm gonna stick beside him. Either way, you could tell that your neighbor was taken aback by how Jeremy quickly turned the tables on him. At the confirmation, Shiloh burst into an uncontrolled laughter. Even when he calmed moments later, gasping for breath, there was still a wide grin plastered on his face. I can't even imagine Jeremy being like that. Well, imagine it. I can't imagine him not being like that. They both chuckled again, and Cove's mouth pulled into a bent smile. I mean, Jeremy hasn't made fun of my eyebrows once this whole conversation. Unbelievable. Huh? Jeremy blinked and focused all his attention onto Cove. His eyes unmistakably narrowed in on the eyebrows. He didn't say anything at first, and then his words came out in a minute. That makes sense. I guess insulting eyebrows was just what I did as a kid. What does that mean? What do you think it means? You weren't the only kid in the world with bad eyebrows. You're not the only one I picked on for it. I wasn't? You couldn't help yourself, could you? He had an MO. He had a target. Nope. Wow. So what made their eyebrows bad? Why do you care? Why are we having this conversation? Are you curious if yours are better? By terrible eyebrow standards, at least? No. Not him saying sigh. Not him saying sigh instead of just sighing. Incredulously, Cove looked from Jeremy to you and then back to him again. You had to question if you heard that right. He spoke the word sigh instead of actually sighing. He wants to be like, he's not one of those girls. He's different. He says sigh. He's quirky. Noticing the reaction, Jeremy sighed for real, but he continued on to answer Cove's question. The guy has particularly odd hair coloring. White hair, but only on the top of his head. What's his name? It's not Bruno. It's not Bruce. What's his name? It's not Beatrice. Baxter. Baxter. He's talking about Baxter. Oh my gosh. Every other strand on his head is dark brown, including his immensely bushy eyebrows. He was born that way. It's not dyed. Unless he's not talking about Baxter and this is some guy that we just don't know. And so you're the sacred boy with dumb, wavy eyebrows, and he was the white-haired boy with stupid caterpillar eyebrows. It says, does not say sacred. It says scarred. Ow. Unexpectedly, a loud gasp came from Shiloh at that description. No, you picked on Pran for his eyebrows? Who the hell is Pran? I did. I'm sure you find that hilarious. No, that's not very funny. So he said, but Shiloh was smothering laughter. That unconvinced note in Jeremy's voice didn't surprise you. Okay, wait, give me a second. Let me just... Jeremy rolled his eyes in the slowest, most exaggerated way possible. When he made a complete circle, he spoke flatly while Shiloh broke into a fit of giggles. There. Who's Pran? Shiloh knows him too? Jeremy and Pran have known each other for a long time. They managed to go to the same boarding school later on. I met them both there in the spring of last year. We're all group mates. Jeremy's gaze slid away from Shiloh. He looked somewhere between you and Cove. Pran and I met about 4.5 years ago. Back when I was still an intolerable brat and Pran was meek. You can only imagine how amazing that combination was. It must make the group meetings awkward. Nope, somehow, someway, for some reason, Pran chose to stubbornly stick with me for as long as we'd known each other. He's my best friend. Aw, you've got a best friend. Good for you. What? It's surprising, I know. I have a best friend. It's the caterpillar brown guy of all people. But I guess things balanced out in the end. You know what? What does Baxter look like? Because I just assumed Baxter. I thought black and white, Baxter. But he mentioned dark brown. And I don't remember what Baxter's eyebrows look like. It's eluding me. Pran's timid nature is good and dead. He grew up to be colder than even me. I'm mopey and he's broody. A perfect match. 2 peas and ruining everyone's life pod. Don't quote Everett. Cove whined after Jeremy snapped at his last remark. No, who's Everett? You don't want to know. Oh wait, sorry, it was supposed to be Jeremy. You don't want to know. Yeah, you don't want to know. Shiloh hummed and he watched his 3 old friends with an amused smile. He was having fun. Before he could say anything, Jeremy continued. Everett is also a part of the group, unfortunately. But he chose not to elaborate further than that. Liz sighed this time. You could feel her frustration. You couldn't blame her for that. She hadn't been able to participate much at all. She didn't know Jeremy then, so there was no basis for reminiscing now, and there was a 10-year gap in her story with Shiloh. The whole situation struck an odd chord with you. 2 boys that you knew separately came to know each other, and now they knew each other much better than they know any of you. Shiloh was almost a stranger. You shrugged the feeling off. You didn't know how to feel. You were on the same page as Liz. You felt down. You were glad things seemed to be going all right. You felt annoyed by how things unfolded. You know what? I'm just here. You know, we're vibing. Jeremy hadn't left the call, and you were learning bits and pieces about Shiloh's new world outside of Sunset Bird. You were taking both as little wins. Turning to the 3 of you, Shiloh smiled apologetically. You wondered if he was picking up on how in the dark Cove and Liz were feeling. He was perceptive when he wanted to be. Hey, is there anything you want to hear about Jeremy? I can tell you all about him. We should get to know each other better. Don't do that. It'll be okay. I don't know why I said okay like that. Jeremy whined while Shiloh brushed his complaints off. He remained happily focused on the rest of you, and Liz seemed to perk up at the conversation shift. That sounds great. We should all get to know Jeremy. So, who wants to go first? Despite being eager, it was obvious that Liz didn't have any ideas herself. Jeremy let out a long sigh. When's his birthday? What's his full name? Can I get his number? I'm not asking this. No, that's crazy. What are his parents like? Does he have any siblings? Does he have any hobbies? Is he doing well in school? How tall is he? What happened to his bowl cut and glasses? What did happen at the music part? Is he is he single? Why would I want to know that? What happened to his bowl cut and glasses? He had a bowl cut? That sent Shiloh into a fit of laughter, while Jeremy shook his head disapprovingly. Through chuckles, Shiloh continued with his best guess. His mom and dad probably decided that back then, and now he picked. Or they developed new tastes over the years. Yeah, because his hairline's kind of fucked up. So I'm just wondering what happened to his bowl cut. Excuse me. As for his glasses, Jeremy wears contacts at school and when he's out and about, but he still wears glasses when he's home or working at part-time at his parents' hobby shop. Oh, your parents have a hobby shop. How many questions will they allow me to ask? Do you have any hobbies? Reading and crafty handiwork type stuff. Oh, and archery. Jeremy's really talented. Seriously? That's really cool. Jeremy scoffed at the compliments. He clearly wanted to move on from the conversation. I guess I'm allowed to ask everything. So, when's his birthday? May 4th. He's a Taurus. Oh my gosh. I'm a Taurus. Oh, why are you shit? Why are you shit, Jeremy? I mean, it's probably true. All the Tauruses I know are emo. But he's a May Taurus and I'm an April Taurus. I'm better. Jeremy refused to comment on that. Instead, he rolled his eyes. What's his full name? Jeremy Marion King. Isn't that neat? No. Not his middle name being Marion. Not me bullying his... I'm not doing it. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come off bullying Jeremy for knowing your middle name was Marion. Why do you even want to know that? Are you planning on stealing my identity? Oh. Yeah, I am. I am, actually. That got a laugh out of you. Jeremy sighed. You can have it. Okay. I'll take it. Can I get his number? No, I'm gonna skip this question. I'm gonna ask all these questions, but I'm skipping this one. What are his parents like? They're nice and optimistic. They work really hard, but they can be smothering, sort of, and usually embarrass Jeremy. Jeremy seemed unenthused by Shiloh's answer. Does he have any siblings? No. Jeremy's an only child. He doesn't have pets either. I think he told us that he was an only child. But you know what? A lot could have happened in those, 5 years? He could have gotten a new little sibling. Although, Pran spends almost no time with his own family and a lot with Jeremy's. It's kind of like a sibling relationship, I think. Don't bring Pran into this awful thing. Okay. Is he doing well in school? Yeah, Nate is doing the best, but Jeremy gets respectable scores. Or, unless by doing well you mean to ask if he's having a good time or making friends, then in that case, no, he's not. You weren't sure how to respond to that at all. Glancing back at Jeremy, he rolled his eyes. How tall is he? 5'5". He's kind of short. I figured. What did happen at the amusement park? Oh, I don't actually know. I can only think of one time when we were both there. I'm not sure what part he's talking about. As far as I could tell, I didn't do anything to upset him, and I know he didn't do anything to me. Sigh. That's what you're going with, Shiloh? Jeremy, what happened? I'm not gonna tell you. It's humiliating. And Shiloh knows I'm not gonna say anything. It's why he won't explain either. For several quiet moments, everyone stared at Shiloh and Jeremy in confusion. Shiloh had a similar look on his face before averting your eyes. Sorry, I can't help you with this one, princess. Is he single? That had Shiloh giggling. He smiled down at the screen. Jeremy isn't in anything official, but he does have someone he goes on dates with from time to time. Ooh. You call that dating? I call it punishment for all of my wrongdoings in this life. Then why do you keep going? Why do you keep going? Cove scrunched his face and glanced at you like he wasn't sure he heard Jeremy correctly. Shiloh smiled understandingly. It's complicated. She makes him happy against his will. Oh no. That's cute. You better not break her heart, or I will fight you. I don't know her, but I'm gonna beat you up. How unfortunate? Shiloh started chuckling again. Jeremy, on the other hand, let out a loud sigh, clearly done with this current topic. Can I get his number? Not him being shocked. shock and surprise. What? Why? Sure. Ignoring Jeremy again, Shiloh immediately started listing off the number for you. Jeremy grimaced while you continually saved it in your contact list. That's everything I can think of. Cool, thanks for asking. Cove, do you have any questions for Jeremy? Stunned, it took Cove a moment to recover from being put on the spot. But ultimately, his eyes shifted from Shiloh's and locked with Jeremy's. They remained like that long enough that it was as if they could speak telepathically. Alright, yeah, I have a question, but Shiloh can't answer. Fine, ask me. Let's get it over with. What do you think of me? Even if you don't think I'm tough or something, do you still feel like I'm stupid and wrong about everything? Oh, it's an ad break. Didn't even tell me there was an ad coming up. A crack formed in Jeremy's lackadaisical expression. His barely open eyes lifted a little more, but he still spoke flatly. My opinion on stuff is basically the least important thing you could ever worry about. It's pointless. Well, I'm still asking, so... Cove, right? That's your name? Cove nodded. There was a tint of pink in his cheeks as he bashfully rubbed his arm. Okay, Cove. You seem like a guy who cares a lot about things that don't matter. It sounds pretty dumb to me. I agreed that years ago. Listen, he's an overthinker, okay? He's okay. Leave him alone. And being as soft as you act, it isn't something I would ever do, basically. But, you know what the absolute dumbest thing really is? Cole shook his head with creased brows. He then leaned forward just a bit, like he couldn't risk not hearing what revelation Jeremy was going to bestow upon him. Making yourself miserable if you don't have to be. Oh? If you and the rest of the people here have a way to enjoy existence, then you should go ahead and do that. Stay gentle and happy, dumb eyebrow guy. You have my approval if that's what you wanted. I hope you all have wonderful lives and suffer as little as possible. Wow. The word tumbled out softly. Cove was earnestly amazed by Jeremy's words. This is sweet. And you know what's not gonna make you stay happy? What? Talking to a downer like me. So really, you should end this conversation right now, and none of you should ever call me again for the rest of our lives. That sounds good? Can I hang up already? Oh, wait, Jeremy. I can't never call you again. Shut up, Shiloh. Unfazed, Shiloh laughed with a tilt of his head. Building something good up only to try undercutting it? That's the Jeremy I know. The word dripped with sarcasm and was accompanied by a smirk. It was the first time he saw him smile this entire time. Cove piped up meekly, an awkward smile on his face. Oh my gosh. Cove piped up meekly, an awkward smile of his own on his face. They gotta do something with these sentences. They're too confusing. Maybe my opinion is totally skewed because I'm comparing things now to how Jeremy used to be, but I mean, you don't seem that bad. What? Cove needed to look away from Jeremy's painfully sharp eyes to finish his thought. Cove, why are you so... why are you like this? I'd probably be okay with talking to you again. Sigh, come on, you can have standards. I mean, he's right. Have some standards, Cove. You don't want to be friends with guys like this. They're nothing but trouble. They need to seek therapy. They need help. I want to keep talking to Jeremy too. Yeah, Cove, he's pretty cute. No, I'd be fine with ending this call now. I don't think he's that bad. You had no comment. At least one person is making sense. You remained unimpressed with Jeremy, but it didn't faze Cove. He was still warming up to the whiny guy. And then Liz clapped her hands together. I'm definitely going to be texting Jeremy. I'm definitely going to be like, what's up, bitch? What's the forecast for today's plans? I would definitely do that. Just because it's him. Well, it's enough of a start. Now that we're so much closer to this Jeremy kid, I think we can all get along together and be friends. Friends? Jeremy repeated the word back like it was a foreign phrase. He genuinely didn't seem to understand. That's right. If we keep working on it, I don't see why the five of us can't be friends. Sorry, I have enough friends. I don't need any more. Thanks though. He stared at Liz incredulously. For several moments, her expression twisted into a fresh confusion of her own. Okay. 3 things. First, I already have one whole friend, and that's more than enough. Second, I still don't know who you are. Did you even say your name at any point? And most importantly, third, one of the people in this friendship is Shiloh Fields. He and I aren't gonna be friends. What? Why not? Why not? I'm Liz, by the way. Because he's Shiloh. Our relationship is already as good as it's ever gonna be. He mercifully leaves me be most of the time, and on the weird occasion where he needs something, I just get it over with. And then he goes away again, and I have a modicum? Is that how you say the word? I think. Of penis. Jay, welcome in. Thank you for the hydrate. I'll do the hydrate for you right now. You know what? I might as well finish this. Hydrate completed. Welcome in. How are you doing? What's good? What's happening? What's pop-a-loppin'? Pop-a-loppin'? That's definitely not the word I meant to use. But it's the word now. What's pop-a-loppin', Jay? You know how it works, right? You're in it with me. We have the best arrangement possible with the way it is. Jeremy looked at Shiloh seriously to back up the validity of their relationship, but Shiloh shook his head with a laugh. I don't try to hang out too much, but that's because you're shy. You're the only one who thinks that setup is actually a good idea. Sorry. You're good. I'm glad you're good. How am I? I'm trying to be good. I'm trying to be like you, Jay. Good. Unless you're just saying good as a pleasantry, I actually do hope you're well. Jeremy turned his face to the side and let out another exaggerated sigh. Cove and Liz both joined on Shiloh's mirth. Jeremy got no support. Of course you'd say that. Why did you even bother? That's Shiloh's famous memory for you. What memory? What happened? I'm confused. Liz's chuckling stopped. Wait, what does that mean? Shiloh's famous memory? What? Whatever. Basically, Shiloh unknowingly remembers everything that happens for all of eternity. At least until some piece of info he has isn't helpful anymore, or he's got explaining to do. Then he magically, all of a sudden, he doesn't know anything about it. His boldly inconsistent recollection of situations is pretty much a running joke. It's Shiloh's shtick. One of them, anyway. Oh, he's got shticks. He's got shticks. A scowl dug into Liz's face as Jeremy spoke. Cove watched to smile, seeing her reaction. Shiloh remained silent, with his big, childlike eyes locked on your sister. Are you saying that Shiloh's kind of a creep? Shiloh's not a good guy? You know what, I think Shiloh has turned a little bad. I do. Jeremy began to shrink away from the screen at the changing atmosphere. He broke eye contact with everyone. I'm guessing he didn't mention that? No, he didn't. And he said he forgot something to you? I do recall him saying a little something like that. Sorry. But, well, apparently you had the pleasure of meeting Nate, you know me. And I talked a bit about Pran and, Everett, too. We're all in the unbearable group, and we're all unbearable people. What an amazing coincidence, huh? What we're about is kind of hard to hide. No. What is this group? I'm gonna go now. I don't want to be the fifth wheel to your own little group. You three have a good day, I guess. And Shiloh, I'll see you back at school. Bye, Jeremy. Jeremy promptly ended the call. Just as people had begun to warm up to him, he accidentally found a new way to ice the mood again. That's just him. That's just Jeremy. We can't do anything about that. Shiloh, now averting his own gaze, put his phone away and chuckled. I knew that Jeremy didn't think highly of me, but it's even worse than I thought. That's really sad. Shiloh. Her firm tone immediately brought Shiloh's focus back to her. Once she got his attention, however, Liz's voice became small. When we met you in the city, did you know who we were? Did you pretend not to recognize us? The two friends watched each other for a beat, but ultimately Shiloh closed his eyes with a lopsided smile. Oh, Lizzie, you gotta know I could never really forget you. Liz was speechless, but it wasn't quiet. Cove couldn't stop himself from shouting out. Oh my god, you were lying to them? Lying is a strong word. I was improvising. Oh, I knew it. Shiloh, you're a bad seed. What happened? Yep, that makes way more sense than you not figuring it out. You didn't really mind, but were instead concerned about how you felt that was the best option. You're such an asshole. He is. He looks like this guy I had a crush on in high school, who also liked me back, but it just never happened. It's a situation. It's a whole thing. Should I call him an asshole? But that does make sense. This does make sense. It was weird to think he was trying to trick you, but the interaction was a lot more understandable that way. Go home, Shiloh. Or go to my house and wait there until we can send you home. Okay. With his shoulders dipped and head low, Shiloh obediently left the park alone. After he disappeared up the road, Liz sat her butt down right into the sand with no concern for how dirty her dress might get this time. You went after Shiloh just to talk to him. You crouched down to your sister. Yeah, I'm going after Shiloh. Like, sorry, Liz, but I love being a bad boy. That's all I gotta say. Watch, Liz. I'll be back. You didn't give him an explanation. You just shot out of the park after Shiloh. You caught up with him on your neighborhood street. He must have noticed your footsteps because he was standing still in the middle of the road waiting. You couldn't read his expression, but he didn't say anything. I want to talk. He smiled while fiddling with the rim of his hat. We will, later. Thanks for trying. What? And that was it. He turned his back on you, continuing his walk of shame. He wanted to wait, like Liz asked. Even after all this time, he listened to her. There was nothing you could do. You left him there to rejoin the others at the park. Okay. Cove seemed concerned for you when you arrived, but you quickly reassured him when you sat down. He nodded and gave you space by your sister. She hadn't moved from where you had first left her. However, your presence caused her to stir. You can go. We're done. Cove shared an unsure look with you. She wanted to be alone, but this wasn't the time for that. We're not going anywhere. Accepting that you were going to be here for this, she let out a groan. At the same time, Liz pulled the sides of her hat down, gripping it tightly in frustration. I can't believe he pretended he didn't know us. Since when was Shiloh too good to catch up with his acquaintances? It's infuriating. Am I an idiot for thinking we could talk? Yes. Yes, you are. You wrapped your arms around her, you leaned against her, you took her arm, you watched her cautiously. I'll give you a hug, because you are a bit stupid, but it's okay. It's okay because I'm stupid too. You wiggled closer and pulled your big sister into a hug from the side. You continued to hold on, even when she didn't let go of her hat. No, you're not an idiot. He is the idiot. Shiloh lied to us. That's not your fault. No, you're smart and talented and amazing. Liz, I'm sorry. We can still make things okay. Shiloh lied to us, and that's not your fault. Seriously, he's a tool. I know I shouldn't care. It doesn't matter if one person doesn't want to be my bestie. He's not the greatest man on earth. I'll be fine. But I brought him here all the way from the other side of the state. And I didn't even know why he did any of this. Liz finally removed her hands from the brim of her hat in order to rub at her temples instead. It blows. Cove snorted some nervous laughter at her unexpected phrasing. She didn't mind it. It's true, but you'll always have me. Say the word, I'll force the answers out of him. Why am I so aggressive? I'm definitely gonna pick that one. I bet he's just intimidated by successful women. Liz, if we ever see that guy again, I'll hurt him in the ocean. No, I'll hurl him. No. We'll have so much fun without him. He has no idea what he'll be missing out on. I'm here for you, Liz, through thick and thin, no matter what. Say the word. Say the word, girl. Please don't. You'll go to jail. Listen, I'm not gonna go to jail. I'll rough him up just enough that I won't go to jail. Fine. Thanks, baby kiddo. Baby kiddo? When has that ever been a name you've called me? She squished you tight and rocked you back and forth in a dramatic hug. You let out a Cove-like squeak. No, not Cove even having branded squeaks. I can't. I have not given him a squeaky voice, and he's never gonna have a squeaky voice because I feel like it's gonna be hard for me to differentiate if I gave him like a squeaky voice. I mean, I could be like, no. I hate that. I love you. I love you too. And what is family for? Well, I thought it was for hogging the phone while growing up, but this works. She released you with a shaky self-imposed laugh. Impressed laugh. Oh, and thank you too, Cove, for being around. We're going to officially be family one day, right? She shot him a wry smile and he tensed up, face going red. He was willing to take her teasing if it made her feel better. Don't mention it. Good, good. Liz rested her eyes. After those last couple words, it eased her heart to see her feel better. Cove let out a soft sigh of relief. Hey. Cove then brought his face close to yours so he could speak in a whisper. Oh. I know Lizzie. Liz was his best friend, but you knew him too. And you were there when he did this whole pretend improvisation act. Don't worry about me, I'm okay. I'm sad, I'm furious. I don't know how to feel, you didn't say anything. You know what, it's a little sad, it is. I'm sensitive, I'm sad. You hadn't cared before, but it was really awful. I'm sorry, he doesn't deserve to be gone for 10 years and suddenly mess with everybody's emotions. Well, I mean, he could have just blocked Lizzie. He could have. So I don't blame him. He's 17. This is childish behavior. He's still a child. So it's, like, it hurts, but it's like, whatever. It's something I can get over. It is something I can get over. Cove ended his check-up by reaching over to pat you on the shoulder reassuringly. Boy, don't pat me on the shoulder. Your longtime neighborhood group sat together quietly in the sand, just enjoying the feeling of familiarity and support. You weren't entirely sure how much time passed, but you were eventually caught off guard by a soft call in the distance. And even then, the three of you turned your heads to the sound, and there, standing on the edge of the playground, was Shiloh himself. He waved. You moved in front of Liz protectively. You huddled closer to Liz nervously. You huddled closer to Cove. You flipped him off. You froze in place. I'm gonna wait. I don't need to flip him off. You wanted to give him a chance. If I'm nothing but a chance giver, I've given people so many chances, and I'm gonna stop doing that. But for the sake of the story, and for me growing up, I'm gonna give him a second chance. You got a lot of nerve, Shiloh. It's a good thing your name is Fields, because I'm gonna put you in the ground. No one wants you here. Do you have something to say? I'll punch you in the face like I socked Jeremy. Oh my god, I'm not gonna do that. You got a lot of nerve, Shiloh. You meant every word of that. What's that? I couldn't hear you from over there. But don't get up on my count. I'll come to you. No. Why am I saying no? You knew he heard what you said. Shiloh approached with easy strides, as if he had been welcomed. You were floored with how much confidence or shamelessness the boy was apparently capable of now. Liz turned her face and refused to acknowledge what was happening. She might have even been trying to think happy thoughts and wish Shiloh's presence away. Unfortunately, it didn't work. When Shiloh arrived, he plopped down into the sand with the rest of you, his legs folded crisscross. Leave. Seriously? Get lost. I will. In just a minute. What do you want now? Well, I figured you'd want to talk to me after you had some space. I ought to let you do that, even if you're gonna yell at me. Liz finally faced him to be free to snap at Shiloh with full force. And why in the world would you think that? Unfazed, Shiloh looked back at her softly. Oh, this might happen to him a lot. Oh, this is sad. Poor Shiloh. Like, I do feel bad for Shiloh. You haven't changed that much, Lizzie. You're the one who found me online when I brushed you off earlier this summer. When have I ever preferred leaving something unresolved in the end? I feel like you do that a lot. You didn't even have a chance to make me explain why I did it. I bet you're dying to do that. Liz grounded her teeth, quietly fuming. Shiloh had called it right, and that stuck for her. Fine. I'll bite and give me your excuses. Oh, mostly, it was really bad timing. I could have handled it a lot better if I had known I was going to see you that day, and if there wasn't a self-appointed hall monitor dutifully watching every move people made. And, hi, good to see you, you gotta go, was simply too much for your little heart to manage? Of course, the goal was to keep as much distance as possible. Admitting I was the guy you knew wouldn't have been helpful. So you can't stand us, and me trying to reconnect was just a huge pain for you after all? Amazing, wonderful. Thank you so much for saying so. No, that's not it. Don't feel bad, though. You're almost never wrong. Shiloh, you're garbage. Shiloh, you are garbage. Your older sister's brow twitched as she stared at Shiloh in tired belief. He smiled back at her brightly. That's... no more chances. If I ever see you as we're like adults, I am gonna flip you off next time. I did it so this wouldn't happen. What? I dealt with the situation that I always do by saying stuff I didn't actually mean because it was just easier that way. You'd heard Jeremy. It's what I'm known for. Sure, right now you're mad that I pretended not to remember you, but if I hadn't done that, it would have been something else later on, and we'd have ended up here still. But weren't you having fun today? Did you not have fun? I bought you ice cream. Liz's anger became more and more difficult for her to maintain. It was soon replaced with sad confusion. Then don't do that. Don't be like that. Why not be someone you're actually okay showing me? Why showing you? Is there something here I'm missing? Am I missing something? Shiloh chuckled uncomfortably and searched for a way to explain himself to his former idol. Not her being your idol. I wouldn't have made you sad if I could have avoided it. I mean that. I thought I could at least finish this visit without issues. Jeremy wasn't someone I expected to call me out. That's pointless to him usually. But I'm not going to be someone whose personality revolves around making you happy. Oh. He said, I remember what it was like when I was younger, and I'm not doing it again. No matter how much I follow others, it wasn't for them. Every decision was mine. I couldn't be in charge. Being so sidekick to the best option was something I did for my sake. I see. I chose to let people be the boss when it's what I need, and I chose where to stop it. And the best I can do for you now is spare you from dealing with it. I'm not as earnest as you are. I'm not as nice as you are. I was always like that. Even as a kid, he was a little mean. I don't pretend. I didn't forget, Shiloh. Back then I wanted to fit in, even if it meant excluding someone else. If they were the odd one out, that mean I wasn't. Finding my place here got harder when Cove moved in. It was a good thing for everybody that I ended up moving myself soon after. You were speechless. That's horrible. I knew it. I was sure you weren't being honest back then. Should I say that? You felt bad for him hearing that. Okay then. You didn't want to say it out loud, but you had always suspected. I knew it. At least I'm admitting it now. I knew that's essentially how you were back then. You were a scaredy cat who wanted someone to defend you. I simply imagine that in the past 10 years you grew out of that and learned how to speak to others like, I don't know, an actual grown-up human being? Well, in my defense, I'm not an adult yet. I won't be 18 until later this year in October. October 30th. You remembered. So did you, punk. Shiloh chuckled self-consciously as Liz smirked at him. There was an affable moment before she became serious again. I liked you when we were kids. I want to know you now. That's what upset me the most. The idea that maybe you only wanted to be rid of your old friends. Aw, Lizzie, you're too good to need someone like me in your life. That's the truth. I'm not worth the effort. Oh my god, this is so sad actually. Except for with usual people who have odd taste. Then she straightened up in the sand, brushing her dress back out. It's an incredibly annoying thing to say. It's insane. You've only changed your stupid ways and stayed the same for the rest. That's fair. Is it? It means maybe I have unusual taste. Girl, stop this. Stop this. He said what he said, let him leave. You could have stuffed Shiloh's entire hat into his into his mouth with how wide he opened it. Really? Well, as much as a mother hen being compelled to look out for their chick, no matter how useless they are, is unusual. I can't help it. You haven't changed that much after all. You're still Shiloh. You're painfully still Shiloh. I brought you here, and I'm not gonna abandon you. It has to be someone's job to look out for and keep an eye on you. With her surety returning, she pulled herself up off the ground and glowered down at Shiloh with her arms folded. Now, I do want an apology for everything you've done behind our backs when you could have opened with all of that and just said, You should have given us a real chance or stayed home. The stunt was rude to me and Princess and Cove too. As if bringing the baby chick comparison to life, Shiloh dutifully did as he was told. Sorry, Liz, Princess, Cove, everyone. I didn't want to cause problems or ruin the day. If you don't have to accept just... And you don't have to accept just because I'm saying it. Not everybody needs to like everyone. Alright then. You were kind of mean sometimes when we were kids, but I wasn't very nice to you either. All this recent stuff isn't really something to make about me, so I'm not gonna hold on to it. I mean, as long as you're not gonna keep upsetting people from now on. Oh, he definitely is. He has a behavioral problem, and he's probably in this therapy group. That's all I have to say. That's all I have to say. He's getting counseling. He's in... What is... It's not AA. It's not AAA, is it? Alcoholics Anonymous? Yeah, it's not Alcoholics Anonymous. But it's one of those support groups. There we go. Support group. I was thinking because Alcoholics Anonymous is a support group. Thanks, Hove. I'll avoid doing that in the future. He then changed his focus to you. His expression was curious. He wanted to know where your feelings landed on this. On him. Were you pretending to have a good time with us today? I'll accept your apology. I'm not forgiving you. Don't even think about it. You couldn't give him a straight answer. You shouldn't forgive him. That's crazy. You gave him a faint smile, sort of relief. You know what? I'm gonna question you. No! It really was great to come back to the old neighborhood and see you three. I only guessed it would end badly, so I tried not to get into the situation in the first place. Princess, do you want to stay for what's left of the evening? You don't have to. As you got to your feet, you thought about it. You did, and there was a reason for it. You didn't want to spend any more time with Shiloh. You know what? We'll stay. I select Shiloh. If Liz is looking out for Shiloh, someone has to look out for her. I'm kind of interested to see what'll happen next. I'll stick around, honestly. Just being nosy, that's me. I just feel sorry for Shiloh. I want us to stay together. Well, it's not as if that's a surprise. You know what? I'm interested. Let's stick around. Let's stay around. Let's stick around is what I meant to say. A sly grin went across your face. Shiloh looked at you for a moment, and you thought you caught a mischievous glint there. Shiloh jumped to his feet, straightening his cap on the landing. Lynn would be so proud. You didn't all leave. Who the fuck is Lynn? Is that your therapist? Cove rose as well, but with a groan. Another group mate? No, he's our group supervisor. He's also friends with my mom. Friends? And if you were still wondering, that group is for people who have difficult to deal with attitudes. I probably would have been in that group. Not that I have a difficult to deal with attitude. It's just, I was shy and I didn't like talking to people, so people thought I was difficult to deal with without getting to know me, without me ever having said a word to them. And then they took everything I said wrong, and I wasn't even being antagonizing. And I'm saying it's like, I'm reflecting on it, and I wasn't. People just had a problem with me for no reason. It's hard being this beautiful. It's hard having resting bitch face and being beautiful. It really is. And if you were still wondering, that group is for people who have difficult to deal with attitudes. Jeremy and Nate being in it makes a lot of sense, huh? Shiloh spoke simply and finished his thought with a breezy shrug. Liz sighed loudly, and then she smiled ruefully at him. Jeez, Shiloh, you certainly made yourself other people's problems since leaving. Well, now you all know me better, too. Thanks for sharing. A small smirk appeared on her face as she watched Shiloh. You didn't fail to notice the hint of sarcasm in her voice. Girl, are y'all not hungry? Y'all had ice cream. That's all y'all had today. You guys should go to get something to eat. Why am I stuttering? Oh my gosh. I was buffering. And thank you, Princess. Accompanied by a warm smile, Liz's tone was sincere. I can keep hanging out with everyone too. Sheepish, Cole rubbed his arm. Liz's smile stretched into a grin at that news. Ah, thanks for sticking around. Well then, what now? The four of you stared at each other in silence until Shiloh tentatively made a suggestion. Would anyone want to build a sandcastle? That sounds ideal. It's been a while. It's been a while since we built a sandcastle. Your older sister began to truly relax again, and you were glad to see it. Glancing at Cove, he nodded in agreement with Liz. Yeah, I like that idea too. It had been a long time since you last built a sandcastle together. You were already looking forward to burying your feet in the sand. Then we're all agreed. Come on, gang. Let's go play on the beach. The sun was far across the sky when the four of you trailed down from the park to the shore in comfortable silence. It was hard not to think back on how familiar it all felt. You never thought the four of you would ever be here together again. It wasn't long before you were sitting on the wet ground, busily pushing as much sand as possible into a lump. You all worked together quietly, but every so often a chuckle would drift through because of the castle's lopsided development. At that point, Cove stretched his legs out completely. At one point, Cove stretched his legs out completely, and in the incoming waves started reaching his toes. He initially was caught off guard and almost jumped into the castle, but ultimately didn't resist the water. After that, the group worked with the purpose to finish before the ocean could tear it all down, though even still, Liz ended up taking time to be particular about the castle's rudimentary design. Shiloh, of course, backed up all her plans. Cove was a dissenting voice, wanting to keep things more laid back. Things got pretty boisterous. Being there and doing this with Cove, Liz, and Shiloh, it felt weirdly different, yet also weirdly the same. What happened with the amusement park? You were pretending not to know, weren't you? Both you and your sister glanced at Shiloh, silently re-asking the question. This is the third time this question has been asked. Under the weight of all three of you taking a turn to ask about it, Shiloh finally gave in. I might have an idea of what he meant. The thing is, there's someone we're both familiar with, and she asked Jeremy to the amusement park one time. He accepted but complained about it, so I suggested that maybe me and her should go together. Jeremy also agreed that it'd be more fun to go around the park with me. That's what he meant when he said he was on my side. Hold on. Does Jeremy have a crush on Shiloh, actually? That'd be interesting. That'd be an interesting development. She's so one with them, and now Jeremy's embarrassed to admit not that he was turned down, but that he was the preferred option then. It's hard to believe. Oh. Anyway, Jeremy could think that I'm mad I got passed over, but it doesn't matter if she said yes or no. All that counts is if she knows I'm totally there when she needs it, and she does. Oh, that's good. That's good. Don't be one of those guys, though, Shiloh. Sure, Shiloh. You're so reliable. I know, right? Okay, thanks for telling us. Smiling to yourself, you watched the three of them absorbed in the moment. It was nice, and you hoped everyone else was having just as much fun. It was sort of incredible that you were able to have another evening like this in your life. And the feeling of odd serendipity wasn't only with Shiloh. You had also gotten a sort of closure with the old villain of that one summer long ago. Just like old times, the four of you stayed on the beach until night fell and the moon was high in the sky. Then a time had come to say goodbye. Shiloh needed to get back to his mom and back to where his life truly was now. Before leaving the beach, Shiloh pulled you aside and gave you his number just in case you wanted to keep in touch. Liz already had it, though he wanted to give it to you personally. Oh, cool. I'll just keep this thing. Thank you. You weren't expecting that, but it was comforting to know that this didn't have to be a permanent goodbye. The four of you walked up the neighborhood street as one, tired smiles covered in the familiar faces around you. The wind gently blew by, sand dragged behind you, and a hard-to-grasp feeling of contentment carried you through to the end of this road. It was a good night. After that, Shiloh disappeared from Sunset Bird once again, though this time it wasn't heartbreaking or hard to understand. This time, it was just another part of life. And it helped that Liz had her own phone and laptop and could easily check in on him from time to time. That was nice too. That was a really long DLC. That was almost 2 hours that took me. Charity, let's go. Sun beamed in through your window, warming your skin as you lay comfortably on your bed. Needed to drink some water. Throat was getting dry. With your arm hovering in the air, you held your phone above your face, squinting against the sun to read the latest text Cove had sent through. He was out with the group he volunteered with, Orca, doing some kind of activity. They'd been at it since early that morning, and he'd been keeping you updated via messenger. The latest one explained how he just finished cleaning up the beach and was now heading over to man a stall on the shopping street to sell tickets for a fundraising dinner. Ooh, we should definitely go. Not to the dinner, but to go harass him while he's working. Before then, he wanted to call. You didn't mind that, and replied saying as much. As you waited for it to come in, you let out a big breath, thinking of the formal dinner that Orca organized. Being a completely fundraising focused event for large donors, it was crucial for the organization's projects in the year to come. That's why Cove had been so busy lately. All you had heard about it so far was that it was prim and proper. It was a prim and proper occasion with speeches and everything. Ooh, we're having another one of these? Okay. And then the notification popped up. Incoming call. You picked up immediately. Hi. Hey, Princess. Sorry, I don't have a lot of time to talk, but this was my chance, so, you know. It sounds like you're doing a great job. Are you sure you're getting enough rest? I hope you can pull yourself away from your beloved beach. I'm a responsible boy you are. I wish you were here with me instead. This is definitely a me answer. Princess. He spoke wistfully. You weren't the only one yearning to be near. Aww, he misses me too. Aww, this is so cute. Do you want to come by to see me? At the booth, I mean? You know it. You know it, babe. Sure, why not? Okay, cool. See you soon. It's just down on the shopping street. You'll see it. Alright, bye. See you. After temporary goodbyes, you tucked your phone away and pushed yourself up from your bed. We haven't seen Mom. It's been a while since I've seen my mommies. Heading downstairs, you found Ma lounging in the living room. Maybe if I just continued reading. Maybe if I shut up and continued reading, I would have saw that one of them is here. Sitting on the couch with her legs tucked up and a magazine in her lap. She looked up at the sound of your footsteps, giving you a smile. Hey, sweetie, what are you up to? Cove just finished his Orca activity. He's going to the shopping street to sell tickets for their fundraising dinner. I'm going to meet him there. Good idea. It sounds wonderful. She nodded happily, and then her face fell a little as she put her magazine to the side. I'm so sad your mom and I can't make it to the dinner that night. She seemed honestly disappointed, but her face brightened again when she looked at you next. You'll be going, right? I can buy the ticket for you if you don't have enough. What's the price? Thanks, but Cove hasn't mentioned how much it is. I'll check it out when I'm there. Perfect. Let me know how it goes. You agree with a nod, walking backwards towards the door. Thanks, sweetie. Have a good walk, and tell Cove I said hello. I will. Bye, Ma. Strolling out of the front door, you shut it behind you and let out a deep breath. You had known that the event was coming up and that you'd most likely be going to support Cove, but you hadn't thought about it too much before now. With a small nod to yourself about everything you'd have to do, you began to walk to the shopping street. You hit the shopping street and casually walked along beneath the afternoon rays, window shopping and browsing through the various stalls that were set up around the place. It didn't take long until you spotted Cove's bright seafoam hair behind a counter and the banner advertising the fundraising event. He caught your eye as you headed over and stood from his seat with a smile, pleased to see you arrive. He stood still, gaze stuck on you, waiting until you approached the counter. Ugh, he's so in love with me, and I love that for me. You came right up to the front of the booth, inspecting the little plush sea animals that decorated it, before turning your smile to Cove. Ooh, Princess. You leaned to kiss him across the counter. I'm leaning in to kiss him. Us my mans. Cove took the cue as you moved forward, placing his hands on the tabletop and leaning his body over towards you. I mean, we shouldn't be doing this while you're working, but, like... Kiss him on the lips. Just give me those lips. Your mouths lightly brushed against one another. It was sweet and short with a bit of awkwardness given the piece of furniture stuck between you. When you pulled back, he smiled at you sunnily. How do you smile at someone sunnily? A pink blush spreading across his skin. Lifting a hand, he reached across to run his fingers along your arm gently, then moved back and stood up straight, clutching his clipboard tightly. Hey, good to see you. Hey, you made it. Have you settled in and everything? He nodded, taking a quick survey of the simple booth. I appreciate getting to take a seat for a while. The beach was great, but it was nice to be off my feet for 5 seconds. He chuckled. You were glad to see that despite all the work he'd been doing, he was in high spirits. He seemed to be really enjoying the work with the charity. So, how much are the tickets for the event? He hesitated for a moment, rubbing at the back of his neck awkwardly. They're $150. I only found out today. Oh, that's so high. For me, that's so high. I'm not expecting that much. That's pretty low for a formal fundraising dinner. That's so high. I for fundraiser tickets, I'd expect something in like the 50 to 80 range. If it's not like a big, super important rich people gala or something like that. But 150, oh my lord, oh my lord. Are all the tickets the same price? Yep, they are. Cove shrugged, glancing down at his clipboard as he answered. It's definitely not something I would normally be at, but it seems to fit the type of people who are into that kind of thing. Most people that have bought tickets wrote a check for it. I've never written a check for anything before. Same. I've gotten checks, but have I written them? No. I don't even have a checkbook. I should probably get on that. As an adult, I guess it's kind of normal to be writing checks. You laughed briefly and shook your head at him, and upon seeing the look on your— Ow. Ow. Ow, what happened? Why does my cheek burn? All I did was like put my hand on my cheek and it suddenly burned. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm not bleeding. You laughed briefly and shook your head at him, and upon seeing the look on your face, he trailed off and cleared his throat softly. A couple of people did have cash though, but yeah, that's the answer to your question. He gave you an affectionate look, his eyes soft as they met yours. I would probably do that. I'd probably take out like a bunch of cash instead of actually writing a check, because I'm not smart like that. I'm not. The good thing though is we have like Zelle and Venmo and Cash App and all those services now, so it's much easier to move money from bank to bank and just give people money that way. Not that it really matters. I'll get you a ticket if you want to be there. You will? Group members get to bring a guest? No, we only get entry for ourselves, but it's only people who volunteer a certain number of hours, or if they're actually part of the team running it. So basically, I'm gonna buy it for you. Aw, that's sweet. You were shocked by that? It was thoughtful for him to offer. No, I'll get my own ticket, thank you. I can't let you do that, it's too expensive to be a gift. I'll make it up to you, so it's too expensive. I'm not asking my partner to pay $150 to come as my date to dinner. I mean, I love that. I love that for you that you think that. Besides, I've been planning on donating some money to the group at some point anyway. This is a chance to do it. Alright, if you're sure, I'll sort out my own ticket. Can you at least fit the cost? No. Alright, if you're sure. He nodded, a smile slowly breaking across his face at your acceptance. What matters to me is that you're there. He glanced over his shoulder quickly, before turning back to you, his lips tilting mischievously at the corners. I'm not supposed to, but if you want, you can sit behind the counter and keep me company while I sell tickets. You burst out laughing. Hell yeah! You're such a troublemaker even when doing volunteer work. You nodded and grinned. Hell yeah! Hell yeah, brother! He laughed at your enthusiasm as you rounded the table and took the extra seat beside him. Is there someone else that's supposed to be here and they just didn't show up? Afternoon passed in a blur, with you and Cove laughing and chatting in between ticket sales. As the time drifted on and sun sank lower in the sky, 6 p.m. finally rolled around, and you helped him to get everything packed up to call it a day. I mean, the sun would not be setting at 6 p.m. The sun usually sets at like 7 in the summertime. But you know what? I don't live in California. Never been there. Don't plan on going anytime soon, so maybe the sun sets differently there. As you headed back home together, you thought of the fundraising dinner and how close it was now. There was still plenty to do before the big night arrived. The days continued on in normal flow, and before long, the night of the Orca fundraising dinner was upon you. It was early evening, and you were in your room getting ready as the minutes ticked closer and closer towards the time you needed to leave. You wanted some privacy, so you had locked yourself away in your room. Liz was helping you pick out an outfit. Cove was on speakerphone. Liz was helping you get ready while Cove was on speakerphone. Oh, I love that. Teamwork. You were currently in the midst of picking out an outfit, which Liz was helping you with, while Cove gave you his input from the phone. Of course, Cove couldn't see any of the items you and Liz were choosing between, but he was trying to help all the same. The event had strict guidelines, and you wouldn't be let in unless you were dressed to code. That meant having to find a truly professional outfit, but one that you were also happy with. You were happy to have the chance to dress fancy. You wanted to be practical about it. You weren't happy about having to dress up. I'm not happy about it. I don't really like dressing up. It's not me. Maybe it's just because I'm insecure about how I look in certain clothing. And so, I don't know, I just don't like dressing up, but I'll do it if I have to. Fancy clothes were always stuffy, uncomfortable, and just totally unnecessary, with lips puckered into a frown as you rifled through the options with a tired sigh. I know the dress code isn't great, but I know you can make it work. Somehow. Liz chuckled at the look of your face, which was anything but pleasant. I'm telling you this nicely, as your older sister and all. Suck it up. This event is the real deal. You're gonna look amazing for one night, and then you can come back and run around in your birthday suit for all we care. Oh no, people would care if you did that. Please don't. Why do you care? Why do you care if I'm running around in my birthday suit, Cove, in my own house? Oh, aren't you helpful, Liz? Don't push me, Liz. Thanks for taking it. Thanks for talking it through with me, Cove. I never thought I'd see the day when Cove Holden would encourage me to wear something formal. You laughed a little. You shook your. I'm shaking my head. You needed to be happy and comfortable with whichever choice you made. Taking a deep breath to refocus yourself, you looked over the options one last time. It was time to decide on an outfit, and quick. You chose a dress. You chose a button-down shirt and pants, blouse and pants, button-down shirt and skirt. Chose a blouse and a skirt. You know what? Let's just do this. Let's get me a dress. Because if I have to go to the bathroom, I can just hike it up. I don't gotta do all that unnecessary stuff. And it's gonna be like a floor-length dress too. Because that way I don't have to shave. No one's looking at my legs through that. I'm good. Liz nodded in approval, clapping her hands together satisfied. Finally, we're making some progress. That sounds like it should be totally fine. I'm wearing just a shirt with buttons and slacks personally. Class it up a bit. Cole. Sitting in front of your mirror, you quietly assessed your outfit. You thought about adding an accessory or two. You liked your outfit as it was. Let's add an accessory or two. It needed a little something extra to finish it all off. If I'm gonna dress up, I'm gonna be extra about it. Rummaging through the rest of your wardrobe, you picked out what you needed to complete your outfit. A necklace, a bracelet, a belt, a ring, a pair of earrings, an anklet. An anklet? Hold on now. I can wear an anklet? Give me that anklet. No one's gonna see my anklet, but let me get that anklet. You had to quickly remove your shoes to slip on the anklet before stepping back into them again. A shawl. Just in case it got cold during the evening, you need a shawl or drape over your shoulders. A ring. You couldn't leave the house without slipping on that. Holding your hand up to the light, you quietly admired the way it glinted. A pair of earrings. I'm just being extra at this point. You hurried to put on a pair of earrings to match your outfit, aware that time was running short. A necklace for my cleavage. Hurrying back to the mirror, you let Liz drape your best necklace around your neck and clasp it together at the back. And a bracelet. You slipped a bracelet around your wrist, and made sure it was sitting there properly. Okay, and we're done. And with that, you decided to apply makeup. You asked Liz if she could put makeup on you. You were ready to go. Liz, can you do my makeup? I can do my own makeup, but it's supposed to be a classy event, and I know if I put makeup on, I'm gonna go really hard with the eyeliner. So, help. Leaning in front of the mirror again, you spoke over your shoulders. Do you think you could help me with some makeup for tonight? Absolutely. I'll show you everything I know. You're welcome for that. Thank you. With that, Liz really got into gear. She worked deftly to apply all of the details without holding you up too long, all keeping you informed on what was happening to your face. You're really going all in, aren't you? Of course. Finally, you were dressed and had all come together. Okay, you just gotta change my shirt and then I'll be in the car. See you in a minute. Change your shirt? I thought you were already dressed. What took you so long? You should have already been dressed. What do you have to do to get ready? When you looked at Liz again, she had a goofy smile pulling out her lips. You look very nice, princess. Thanks. Yeah, I guess it's not so bad. Looking good isn't what I'm concerned about. Now you're talking like our moms. You stayed silent. Thanks. Don't sound too grateful. You gave Liz a pointed look, and she ruffled your hair affectionately, but only barely. Not enough to actually mess it up. Liz whipped a pretend tear away from her finger, sniffling dramatically. Oh, precious princess. You were really all grown up. It happened in the blink of an eye when I wasn't even looking. She chuckled to herself, nudging you towards the door. Alright, time to get downstairs. Your very official, though still kind of a baby, boyfriend awaits. Can you lay off of Cove? Everybody's always harping on Cove. You carefully headed down the stairs and into the living room where your moms were waiting for your presence. My mother's. I swear, her hand being on her stomach makes me feel like she's pregnant. As you entered, they both stood from the couch and came over to you, smiling broadly. You look so wonderful, princess. And very mature, too. I know, right? They continued to coo and fuss over you until you managed to brush them off. Ma took Mom by the arm and held her close, the two of them admiring you proudly. So how come they couldn't come? You enjoyed the attention, thank you, you sighed dramatically. I already got this from Liz. You wonder why they were making such a big deal. Why are they making such a big deal? Liz came over to you and smirked, as if she was reading the very thoughts in your head. I want noodles. I really want jjajangmyeon right now. But I can't because I'm streaming. That's okay, sacrifices. You'll have to get used to it one day, princess. You're the baby of the family after all. Ma came in to give you one last hug, and before you knew it, another pair of arms was wrapped around you, and then a third. Both Mom and Liz giggled as they hugged you tight. We hope you have so much fun tonight. We won't wait up for you. Stay out as long as you need. You're old enough now. Oh. That's crazy. That's crazy that my moms are allowing me to do what I want. I had a curfew. I still technically have a curfew. With a last wave goodbye, you left your family and approached the front door. It was time. Stepping out into the night, you closed the door behind you gently and looked out across the street. Oh, okay. Cove was standing there. I'm sorry, it's just, I was expecting like a suit. It's a fundraiser. I feel like most fundraisers are black and white tie, I think. And when you think that, it's like suit, tuxedo. Cove was standing there in the street. His eyes met yours immediately, as if he had been watching your house for the moment you would come out. He smiled bashfully. Hey, princess. Hey, I hope you're ready to do this. You took the chance to check over his outfit as he walked across the way to meet you. It was formal for sure, though it didn't really feel overly posh. It made sense for him and was honestly a sight for sore eyes. He was always beautiful to you. Oh. With a growing smile, he stepped closer, his cheeks reddening all the way down to his neck. Thank you for coming with me, and for dressing really nicely for this. Your outfit, it's just perfect. His gaze traveled downward to take in your full form. Oh, that's what we're doing? You're checking me out? Okay. And... oh. I was not expecting him to get close. He leaned in, only inches away from your face to whisper in your ear, his warm breath tickling your skin. Ew, don't do that. I like the ankle bracelet. Oh! How short is my dress where you can see my ankle bracelet? This is my ankle monitor. Your cheeks went hot and you bit down on your lip to keep from smiling too much. He's probably like, ooh, feisty. Ankle bracelet? That's naughty. Now that was news to you, you made a mental note to remember it in the future. Wear an ankle bracelet to get Cove in the mood. Thank you, you felt shy over it. You look amazing tonight. Damn, Cove, you're so hot right now, you said flirtatiously. Oh, thank you. You were relieved that your outfit had his seal of approval. Then he shook his head, glanced back towards the garage, and, throwing a thumb over his shoulder, spoke. We should probably get going. Wouldn't want to be late to such a grown-up event, right? Yeah, let's go. I forgot I was reading for Cove. You headed over to Cove's car together, hopping in and strapping on your seatbelts. You were on your way. The event was being held at a place you had never been to before. You brought up the location on your phone to help Cove navigate there. It took some time to find the right address, and once there, you were met with the task of finding a parking spot. Though you were on time, it seemed like everyone else had already showed up and claimed the spaces. Yeah, you gotta go to those places early. You want good parking. Eventually, you found a suitable place before realizing that it required payment. Cove covered the amount, taking a ticket from the machine and leaving it on the dashboard of the car. Despite the small hold-up, you managed to ultimately make it to the event and confirm you were on the guest list before it being shown into the dining area. Oh, this place looks kind of small. Like, it's cute. It's definitely cute. I love it, but it looks kind of small. I don't really know what happens at charity functions, like fundraisers like this, dinners. I guess there's no dancing, I don't know. Cove whistled low as he looked around, taking in the extravagance of the room. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling, and the entire place was decked out with beautiful oceanic displays. You were stunned yourself. It was extremely high class, even more so than you had already expected. It's so nice. This is the best looking event I've ever been to. It's way too frilly for me. It's so overdone. Could be worse. You didn't comment. It's nice. It's nice. You had to be impressed by the work that had gone into making everything look this lovely and how everyone had dressed up in their best outfits for tonight. Seeing Cove smile as he took in the sights made you think he must be feeling the same way. The sound of Cove's name being called out and echoed over the din in the room. When you looked around, there was a couple of unfamiliar people coming your way. They headed over to greet Cove, giving you both a welcoming smile and hello. We're glad to see you can make it, Cove, especially after all the hard work you've done to help make this night happen. Definitely. I wasn't gonna miss it. You must be Princess. Cove hasn't mentioned you often. It's so nice to finally meet you. Yep, that's me. When you glanced over at Cove for confirmation, he smiled, pleased with himself, a small flush of color covering his cheeks. He's so in love with me, and I love this for both of us. We know what? We haven't had a fight, and that's kind of interesting. We don't fight. And, I know fighting isn't very good, but sometimes it's really, it puts you in that relationship, and it's like, can I deal with this person even at their worst? And I'm not saying that fighting with your partner is at their worst, but if you get worked up often, it kind of is. Because I'm at my worst. I'm at my worst when I'm fighting. Princess and I, we've known each other a long time, since we were just kids. That's wonderful. That's nothing like old friends. Yeah. Cove, we have to thank you for everything you've done for Orca. You're always welcome to join in on more activities when they come up. You too, Princess, if you ever decide that's something you're interested in. Listen, don't try to pressure me into joining your organization, okay? Mind your business. You nodded your head in understanding, giving a small smile. Well, we better head off to greet the other guests. It was lovely speaking with you both. You all said your goodbyes and faded off into the crowd, leaving you and Cove on your own once more. Cove shrugged then, his eyes darting around the place with an awkward look. I guess we should talk to more people. There isn't much else to do at an event like this. Oh my god, no. My uterus started hurting. That's not good. That means the time is coming up. You found your way into groups of people who were standing around chatting while some light music played in the background. Servers with large silver trays were gliding between the guests, offering drinks in canapes. I think that's canapes. Cove was clearly hesitant to actually approach the people, but was able to respond when various people greeted him first. You were enjoying talking to so many different people, both guests and members of the organization alike, and found yourself enjoying the company. The sound of the microphone crackling came from the podium at the other end of the room. Someone who you assumed must be the host for the evening was asking everyone to sit down in preparation for the meal and speeches. Ooh, what do you think is getting served? I'm hungry. I want to know what's getting served. Unico looked for your table, finding it easily enough by the little name cards that were placed delicately beside the napkins. A few others joined you at the table, though they weren't anyone you recognized. The host was still speaking as people were settling, starting off the speeches by giving a welcome to everyone attending. She went on to provide some more information about Orca, which you suppose was for the guests who weren't a part of the organization and the purpose of the fundraiser tonight. Orca's goals, as she explained, were to aid in the conservation and restoration of oceans and beaches. There were many people who had helped to make the group as successful as it was. When she read off a list of several volunteers who worked on making the event happen, Co's name was one of the first to come up, of course. He stayed there. He lives at Orca. He lives in the ocean. His cheeks flushed with shy pride at that. As she continued to thank the large donors for the event, you checked over at Cove. He was still grinning happily to himself and tapping his fingers over the top of his knees, pretty pleased to have been mentioned by name. Aww. You laughed quietly at his reaction. You rolled your eyes. You were excited for him. You tried to focus on the speech. He's so cute. He's so precious. It was good to see all his hard work paying off, but his gayness was also funny. While the host continued speaking, multiple servers dressed in black were setting the first course of the menu in front of guests. One of the servers set down the plate in front of you, and you thank them quietly before looking over the dish with interest. You recognize the dish as a simple Caesar salad. Ooh. As the only salad I'll ever eat is a Caesar salad. The host quickly wrapped up the end of her speech, thanking everyone once more before inviting you all to begin your meal. Now, do you guys like croutons in your Caesar salad, or do you prefer them not in your Caesar salad? Because I feel like croutons get in the fucking way. I don't know. I'm not a fan of hard bread, but like they're okay. I usually give my croutons to Jax. The host quickly wrapped up the end of her speech, thanking everyone once more before inviting you all to begin your meal. Anyone who had included a special dietary note was signing up. The events received a vegan or vegetarian version, and there were also small baskets of bread set around the table. Ooh, give me that bread. You ate both the salad and the bread. You ate the salad, you ate some of the bread. I ate the salad and the bread. Cove wolfed down his salad before munching into a breadstick, quickly devouring that as well. Oh, look at him. A champ. I hope the next part comes out soon, and it's bigger. You could hear him mumbling to himself as he reached over for another piece of bread. Oh my, Cove. Cove is me-coded. He glanced around the table and he followed his line of sight with curiosity, knowing that everyone else was still eating the salad. Stopping his hand mid-air, he quickly pulled back and rested on his lap, without taking another breadstick after all. It was clear that he was starting to feel unsure of himself and looked a little out of place here. He folded his arms and turned away from them to you. Hey, did you like the salad? It was really good. It was too small. It was alright. It was pretty bad. It was alright. You know what? That's a lie. That's a lie. There's also another salad that I like, but it's the salad that you get if you ever been to hibachi places. The little salad they give you, I really like it. I'm not a fan of like all the things they put in it, but I'll eat it. That peanut sauce is banging. I need that in my life. At least I think it's peanut sauce. It tastes like peanut sauce. I've had better. His gaze remained purposely tunneled on you, as if he was trying not to even think about what the rest of the table might be doing. You gave Cove a pat on the hand. You made silly faces at other guests while they weren't looking. You picked up a breadstick and gave it to Cove. You secretly flipped the other guests off. You sat there quietly, feeling uncomfortable yourself. I'll pat his hand. His lips tilted up at the corners, and he seemed touched by the reassurance. It wasn't much longer until the main course was arriving, and the various chicken, steak, and veggie dishes were being served throughout the room. An array of scents wafted through the room, making your mouth water. You chose the chicken, you chose the steak. I have a feeling this chicken's gonna be dry, so I'm gonna get the steak. I don't really get steak often, but if they're serving me chicken breast, I don't want it. It was nice that you had been given the option of how you liked your steak cooked, and the meal on the plate in front of you seemed perfectly to your taste. Cove had gone for the steak, and once he had started to dig in, he was completely absorbed by his meal. You're gonna choke if you keep inhaling your food like that. You kicked him under the table teasingly. What is happening? You put your hand on the slide under the table. Oh my gosh. You flicked something at him while he was off guard. You focused on your own food. I'm gonna flick something at him. I'm gonna be annoying. Or you childish. You centered a pea in a clear spot on your plate. Taking the time to get the angle right, he wasn't going to notice what you're doing as long as he had food in front of him. Oh my god, he'd probably be so upset with me if I did this, if people saw. When it was perfect, you struck the tiny thing and hit him directly in the side of his cheek. He bolted upright in shock, almost choking on his mouthful of food. Oh, no, honey, I'm so sorry. The look he gave you was far from impressed, but his eyes still held a glint of amusement. You threw your gaze away from him. You threw your gaze away from him innocently, as though he had done nothing at all. As though you had done nothing at all. When you peeked to see if you had gotten off scot-free, he rolled his eyes and returned to his plate. You chuckled lightly beneath your breath, and he did the same, thoroughly entertained. Dinner eventually ended, and last of all was dessert, a lemon sorbet that had been partially dyed blue. Interesting. The mix of white with bold streaks of blue made the little scoop look like a ball of roaring ocean waves. Oh, that's pretty. The effect was very pretty, but the serving size was small. Perhaps it was the price to pay for artistry? You turned to Cove to find him pouting a little at the size of it. Lune, welcome in. You redeemed Smug? Okay. Thank you for the candy gel tax. The candy gel tax is absolutely nothing except for I acknowledge you more. Thank you. And a hydrate. Okay, that was from Jay. That wasn't a hydrate from you. Okay, let me change. Let me change to Smug. I'm gonna be Smug this whole entire time. Okay, where were we? Digging to the dessert, it took him only a few bites to polish it off. Again, the other people around the table had barely begun eating. How are you doing? Are you doing well? How goes it? It's going. I'm trying to finish this game up, but we spent like almost 2 hours on the very first DLC story thing that we were doing this session, and I can't. It took me so long. How goes it for you? How are you doing? Getting up to anything fun? An unimpressed air settled over him as he sat back in his chair, sipping at his water unhappily. You should appreciate what you got. You laughed at his moping. You're such a big baby. We can get more dessert later. We can get more dessert later, babes. Don't worry. You gave him an encouraging smile. He looked at you sheepishly, embarrassed to have been caught sulking over such a thing. He fumbled for a defense. It was just really good, that's all. Now it's gone. But I'm okay. With a slight grin, he shrugged to show that he was really fine. Would you like a bite of mine? Do you want my dessert? Alright, Cove. Would you like a bite of mine? You scooped up a spoonful of your sorbet and offered it to him, holding a hand between it to avoid any drips. This is cute. Do you guys feed your partners food if you have a partner? I feed mine food sometimes. Good to hear. Going well playing Stardew. Oh, how's the new update for you? Do you like it? Do you hate it? What are your thoughts? Tell me your thoughts and opinions. His eyes widened as he eyed the dessert hungrily, surprised by the offer. Cove is so cute. Recovering quickly, he leaned forward over the table, lifting out the chair a little as he ate the treat from your spoon. You're hella enjoying it? I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're enjoying it. You got so many mods. You can get mods for Stardew. What kind of mods do you have for Stardew? As he sat back down, humming happily with his mouth full, you couldn't help but smile at the sight. Cove swallowed the faux ocean and let out a satisfied sigh. Even though it wasn't that much more, the simple fact that he had gotten more hit spot. Thanks, princess. You're welcome. You were pleased to see he was perkier, and you went back to eating the rest of your dessert. He's so cute. Well, if you're on PC or Android, so like if you have a Mac, you can't get mods. Interesting. Well, good thing I don't have a Mac. Good thing I don't have a Mac. Another person from Orca got up on stage to make a speech as everyone was nearing the end of their meal. I mean, I don't even have Stardew. I think the sale is still going on. I think for a few days. I could be wrong. But there's other things I need to do with this money. They spoke mostly about the individual projects that the organization was working on and their plans for the near future, as well as encouraging anyone who was interested to consider volunteering. Mac is a PC too, is it? I don't consider Mac a PC. I consider Mac an Apple product. You think? I mean, you could be right, but for me, I don't consider Mac a PC. They spoke mostly about the individual projects that the organization was working on. Yeah, okay. Cove bent forward over the table with his chin balanced on a hand, listening attentively to the words. Usually it's Windows versus Mac. Yeah, I guess. I mean, when people talk about it, though, they're like PC or Mac. When they're talking about, like, what kind of thing you have, and they don't usually mention Windows, because you can also get a Linux, and those are not the same as well. Maybe they mean, like, the operating system, I guess? I don't know. Oh, you got me. They're wrong. I mean, that's what a lot of people say. A lot of people are wrong then. Look at you, being right, the only person right all the time, never wrong. And they came to a conclusion. Everyone gave them a round of applause. Cole caught your eye and smiled. You wondered what would happen now. And then the lights dimmed. A couple of spotlights came on, projecting a water light effect around the room. Ooh, the guests gushed over the ambiance, and you looked around with wide eyes at the ripples on the walls. You're Mexican, you're right. I mean, you're not wrong. Especially not wrong about you being Mexican. The DJ that previously had been playing some soft mood music in the background announced that the floor was open for dancing, slowly turning the volume up so it drifted through the space. Oh, this is cute. Exactly. Nah, but you get it though? I mean, yeah. I think they mean operating system. Whenever they say that, it's just weird. It's short that they do that. When you glanced at Cove, his eyebrows had shot up and he mumbled quietly. I didn't know there would be dancing. I guess it makes sense now that I think about it. I knew there would be dancing, Cove. I took you to a fancy little thing before and there was dancing. Cove, have you never been out? Do you not go outside? Do you not go places? He gave an awkward laugh as you both watched as people rose from their seats. It was clear now that many of the donors were couples. A small crowd had started to form on the dance floor, and the DJ played a romantic song to get everyone started off. Cove let his gaze float over the small sea of guests who were moving onto the floor, his hands twisting in his lap as his lips pulled into a tight line. And then with a breath and the lift of his hand, he turned to you. "Wanna dance with me?" Of course. His face lit up. Oh my gosh, not lifted. His face lit up. You could tell even beneath the dim light. Accepting Cove's outstretched hand, you rose from your seats together and stepped out onto the floor. When you had found a spot for yourselves amongst the other guests, you turned and faced him, standing close. Cove gave you a small smile as you looked up at him. He seemed a little nervous. "I don't know how to dance, not for real." I know. I remember, Cove. I remember you stepping on my feet. He admitted it with a slight squeeze to your hand and a sheepish look. You gave him a reassuring grin and nudged a little closer to him still. "It's okay. I know." With a familiar face full of affection, he let go of you and raised his arms to slide both of his hands behind your neck. "Why are you sliding your hands behind my neck? Wrong position. Your hands go around my waist, sir. My hands go around your neck." You wrapped your arms around him in response. Together you gently swayed to the music, moving your feet in time to a delicate beat. How is he wrapping his arms around my neck? I'm significantly shorter than him, first of all. I don't think I like the way this is happening. I'm getting an odd picture here. It was nice just being here like this, in each other's arms. You didn't have to worry about whether you knew the right steps or not. There was always a way to make it work between the two of you. Cove leaned his head in nearer to yours, his forehead so close to yours that they almost touched. You must be sticking your whole ass out. Because aren't you like 6-something? You're like a whole foot taller than me. His breath was warm as he let out a contented sigh, tickling your skin. You really do look good tonight. You're such a stunning person. Thank you. You smiled widely, feeling your cheeks hotter at the compliment. Have you had a nice time? I hope you did. Yes, I have. I came here with you, so yeah, I was having a pretty bad time until right now. I'm not gonna say that. I came here with you, so yeah. He let out a breathy giggle. His bright eyes stayed locked in yours, studying you with unmistakable adoration. Thank you for staying. You're still here, just like you promised you would be. Your heart felt light as you continued to sway whilst holding your most beloved person. So glad to be able to share a moment like this with him. His smile suddenly tilted unexpectedly. You couldn't guess the thought that crossed over his face. Hey, princess? Yes? His voice a gentle whisper, he let you in on his small secret. You know I like to complain about things and that other people can stress me out, but coming here with you tonight didn't make me feel bad. Not even a little. See, Cove is so me-coded. I love complaining. I'm always stressed. But when I'm with my partner, I'm like, you know what? Things are a little less stressful. Except for when Gil stresses me out. It happens sometimes. I stress him out all the time too. Your lips parted at the words, old memories rushing back to the surface of your mind. Those of your very first formal party together, the summer soiree at the country club. In an instant, you were 13 years old again, sitting on a grassy hill in a dark golf course with your neighbor. It was an experience you could never forget, where it felt as though there was no one else in the world, and where he made you feel like there was no one else in the world he wanted to be with more. I hate the way the sentence is structured. That's very confusing sentence structure. I thought it was just like skipping and reading over stuff. Hold on, my eye itches. That was the night Cove tried so hard to enjoy with you, but had been plagued by his anxieties despite it all. And now, same, I know a whole lot about anxieties. Cole, I'm so glad you began tearing up happily. It was probably the water theme at this party that put you at ease. You were speechless. I'm so glad. Your rays were delicate, but as earnest as you've ever been. Cole's hand caressed the back of your neck, making you feel truly treasured. Even though I still get like that sometimes, when there's other stuff in our lives that's too much for me to deal with. But being with you, that's not one of those things. You make it so easy to do. You make me happy, more than happy. When I'm with you, I feel safe. His words wavered ever so slightly, his feelings getting the best of him. This is so precious, Cole. I'm glad you feel safe with me. I want more than anything to be able to do that for you. Make me feel safe? He broke on the last words, tears glistening in the corners of his eyes. You already have. You wiped away his tears. You nodded quietly. Why was I struggling with this? I'll always be here for you. I promise. You kissed him. Wipe away his tears. He's so precious. His skin was warm as you gently brushed your fingers beneath his eyes and smiled at him softly. A lot has happened, huh? You nodded faintly. You weren't sure if it meant just today, this summer, or your entire time knowing each other. But it didn't really matter. It was true either way. Thinking back on the years that you and Cove had been neighbors, it was difficult to even try to reflect on it all at once. I'm glad we ended up here. He gave you a soft look, and you beamed, knowing that could also mean many things. But from his tone, you were certain he didn't only mean here, at this event. It was more than that. There's nowhere else I'd rather be, so am I. I think we have to tell your dad thanks. No. You're amazing. You can even speak. You chuckle happily as the two of you and the long adventure you've been on. There's nowhere else I'd rather be. You loved him. Fully and completely you did. His smile widened and he pressed his back. He pressed his body. I was switching body and back together. His smile widened and he pressed his body against yours, resting his head into the crook of your neck. Your whole ass has to be out for this, because there's no way you're sticking your head in the crook of my neck. You are so much taller than me. Stroking the back of your head with his fingers, you tightened your grip on him and let your head fall against his shoulder. As the night drifted on, you held each other tight, swaying to the music as if you were the only ones in that room. Cove was sweet the entire time, his warmth brushing against your skin as he whispered words of affection in your ear. He was extremely good at making you feel special. You couldn't have hidden your blissful smile, even if you wanted to. The party eventually started to wind down, and at last, it came to an end. When the main lights turned on, you blinked against the brightness of them, making sure you still had Cove in your sights. One final speaker came up to the podium on the stage, thanking all of the guests for coming and wishing everyone a good night. It was bittersweet to see it come to a close. Your time with Cove here was precious. At least the memories could be brought with you. Giving the space one more look, you walked together with Cove out to the parking lot. The other guests were doing the same, so you got stuck in a bit of a crowd. Though Cove was so tall you could always see him, and it was easy enough not to get separated. The parking lot itself was quite big, and even more noticeable now, with fewer cars blocking the view. It took a little while to actually locate Cove's car across the expanse. Eventually you found it, and the two of you bundled inside the vehicle and buckled up. The trip home was quiet, as you both silently reflected back on the experience. The event had been the biggest night of the year for Orca, and now it was all over, just like that. Outside your window, the surroundings soon became familiar, and you found yourselves back in your neighborhood. Cove pulled the car into his driveway and put it in park before letting out a relieved breath. Home sweet home. Yeah. After climbing out of the car, you walked slowly down the road, Cove coming over to stand beside you. You stopped in the middle of the street right between your house and his and turned to him, finding him in the process of opening his mouth to speak. Strangely, he clamped his lips together, as though he had suddenly thought better of it. You also stayed silent. That was quite a night. Good night, Cove. Thank you for taking me tonight. Thanks for coming with me. You kissed him goodnight. You stepped in for a hug. You ruffled his hair playfully. Kiss. Needing to be close again before the night ended, you pressed your lips against his in a gentle kiss. He smiled as you separated, running his fingers over the side of your face. Oh, that's too much. That's too intimate, Cove. It could have just been a quick one. It could have been a quick one, but no, you had to touch me. Night, princess. With a last wispy smile, he left towards his front door. Figuring you shouldn't linger in the street for much longer, you crossed the remainder of the road and did the same. He's not gonna walk me to my door? Ugh, disrespectful. When you reached your house, you pulled out your keys and stuck them in the door, trying your best to be silent about it. Opening the door a crack, you turned back and looked at Cove from over your shoulder. Your eyebrows lifted in surprise to see he was doing the same, holding his front door open, but waiting for you to go inside before he did. Aw, that's sweet, that's cute. Okay, I forgive you a little bit. You shared an amused smile before you both stepped into your own houses, locking the door behind you. It was quite late, so everyone else was already asleep. As quiet as a mouse, you tiptoed up to your bedroom and changed out of your formal clothes into your pajamas. Now that you were finally home, you were exhausted. You brushed your teeth and got ready for bed in darkness before crawling under the covers and letting out a heavy breath. It was still strange to think about how that was it. The build-up to the event had felt like so much. Now it was completely behind you. Your mind was busy with rapid yet muddled thoughts as you faded closer and closer to sleep. Unconsciousness creeped up on you. You felt more content. It was a big deal, but there would be more in the future. You could accept what it had been, and you could dream about what you'd get to experience next. Oh. And then you were taken away from your dreams right back into reality by a sound. Don't tell me this man's about to climb into my room again. Your eyebrows pinched together, fully unprepared to be a part of the waking world again. The day was over and had been an eventful one. But you heard another noise. It was tapping. Your eyes flew open. The window. There was a tapping that came from your window. Cove Holden. Sir, this is sweet and cute and everything, but I was sleeping. Honestly, it would take a lot for him to do that because I am a heavy sleeper when I do fall asleep. But also, I can't stay asleep sometimes. You slowly force yourself to get up. You went over to let the guy in. You rushed over to him. I'm going slow. You're gonna stay your ass out there. You pried yourself out of bed. Your blanket was flung back. You rolled and then sank to the floor. Not me sinking to the floor. You froze for a second there to let your half-asleep brain process the fact that you were mostly on your feet now. There was another tap at the window. I'm coming. Wait your turn. Hold your horses. You shuffled towards the window, something akin to a zombie. Blurrily, you opened the window and there was Cove. You blinked at him. You had not been surprised to find Cove awkwardly crouched on your window ledge. However, you were taken aback to see that he was a little overdressed. Cove hadn't changed out of his formal clothes. How long has it been since I fell asleep? That's what I want to know. You also noticed that he was perched clumsily. You didn't know if it was because he was trying to keep his fancy clothes clean or if he felt weird about something. His body was too stiff and awkward. Even given that Cove was normally all thumbs, he looked off balance, significantly more than usual. Cove smiled sheepishly. Hi, princess. Saw, dude. Sup? Cove, are you here? How come you dress like that? Nice to meet you. Nice to see you, Romeo. No, that's cute. Have you looked at a clock? It's late. It's too late for this. Cove, why are you here? You moved aside and let him climb inside. He cautiously stepped down by stretching his legs over. Strangely, he didn't use his hands for support. It was clear to you now he was holding something. Oh? A gift? A late-night gift for me? When he was safely on his feet, he briefly checked out his clothes, twisting around to see the back of his pants. He caught you looking and shrugged. I did go home after the event, but I knew I wasn't going to be able to settle down, so I just walked back out. Okay. I needed fresh air and time away from everything. We were away from everything. We were going to sleep. He paused for a moment and raised his clasped together hands where you could see them. But then something happened, and, well, so I have something I want to show you. Oh? Cove grinned like a child and gently unfurled his fingers, not being able to keep you in suspense for even a minute longer. Oh, I was like, what the fuck am I looking at? But then my brain got the shapes together. It's a hand. Carefully sitting inside was a tiny yellow light. It blinked off and then on again. A firefly. Boy, you brought a firefly into my house. Let that bug back out. Delicately, he moved his hand closer so you could see the creature better. They're back. Cove. You're so fucking weird. I love you. He closed his eyes, his smile now faintly illuminated by his insect companion. You brought a bug, sir? Honestly, he woke me up for a bug? I would be pretty pissy. But he's cute, so I'd be less pissy, but I'd still be pretty pissy. Remember the first time I caught one? I always will. I could barely manage anything because of that neon pink cast I was stuck with all summer. You were still stunned by what was happening, but couldn't help snickering when Cove did. It was thanks to you that I finally held a firefly in my own hand. I was happy too. Honestly, I didn't think I'd see them this year. I don't know why. It's just they were kind of late, and I guess I've been worrying about a lot of stuff lately. You could tell that the firefly generally lifted his spirits. He seemed at peace. He wanted to share that with you. The fact that his first thought after discovering the fireflies was to come over and celebrate the joy with you made you suddenly feel very cherished. I mean, it's cute, but also a bug? Cove opened his eyes. He looked away, not meeting yours. It's really nice, I think. Even if the fireflies disappear for a while, it doesn't mean they're really gone. They'll come back. I can see them again. You smell, technically, fireflies aren't even gone. They're just eggs and larvae. You know, I'm gonna wait for him to continue. Keep going. Cove looked at your face, his smile now fragile. It makes me think about the two of us. We're together, and we say goodbye, and then we're together again. Day after day, year after year. And even if our time apart gets longer, that doesn't make it forever. Princess, I'll always be there whenever you want to see me. Aww. You were so in love with him, there was nothing else you could think then, and he needed to know. Tell him you love him. Say it. Your heart started to pound. I didn't even bother reading the other options. They don't matter. Your heart started to pound in your ears, and all you could hear was blood rushing. You looked at Cove and found yourself fixated. The only thing you were aware of was your rapid pulse and him. It was as if your entire relationship was playing over in your mind, every step that led you here. Everything from the first night you met to how you started as little kids who were good friends and grew up even closer. To the first time you saw fireflies together, to the first time he snuck in your room, and then to every other moment you shared. All of it came back to you. I think Cove looks like a turtle right now. He's giving turtle. I don't know why I have to tell you that, but I did. You're welcome. Cove's expression had turned curious as you left him waiting, wordless. He tilted his head in a question. His lips parted to speak, but you went first. I love how he still has this bug in my room. I love you. I'm in love with you. I love you, Cove. I love you so much. Yeah, we have to go with the so much. What? No, not his face. Is he gonna reject me? With your confession, the world stopped for a second. Cove froze. Oh. I was not expecting him to cry. Hold on. I feel like I've been smug long enough. Then, as if your words had turned a faucet, tears began to fall down Cove's cheeks. He silently mouthed something, but you couldn't make out a word. Cove? You stepped closer and closer, removing the distance between the two of you. He covered his mouth with a hand, not him about to start wailing, because I said I loved him. This is so sweet, but bro, it's like, what, 3 a.m? Like, he's just feeling real sensitive right now. That's my little crybaby. He covered his mouth with a hand. He must have forgotten about the firefly resting there, and it flew into the night with a twinkle. Oh, okay, so it went out my room? Good, okay. He used his other hand to shakily reach over and interlaced his fingers with yours. He gripped you tightly as he started sobbing harder. No, sir, kid. Maybe we should. You cried with him, you wiped away his tears, you squeezed his hand back. You smiled at him, you chuckled affectionately. You gotta wipe away his tears. You can't have you crying in my room like this. Not this late at night. Gently, you took your free hand and wiped his tears away. I love you, Cove. It's okay, Cove. It's okay, I promise. Yeah, I had a feeling you'd go like this. Can you tell me how you feel? You weren't able to speak. It's okay, Cove. Cove removed the hand from his mouth and used it to hold the back of your head. Oh? Why is he palming my head? He brought your face to him, bending his neck down to be closer to your level, and your foreheads brushed together. His voice trembled, it cracked, and it shook. This was raw, straight from Cove's heart. I love you. He closed his eyes tightly and repeated himself, but now he could say it firmly. I love you, sir. My parents are sleeping in the next room. His aqua eyes sparkled when he opened them again. Fresh tears poured out with an outburst of emotion. Sorry. Princess, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I can't get it together. It's just, I tried so much to love you quietly, secretly, and that being it. But I really wanted you to feel the same. I wanted you to love me back. I wanted to hear you say it. I just kept thinking, what if you didn't? Maybe what I felt was too much, and I didn't know how to handle that. I didn't know what to do, but I didn't want to put any of that on you either. You weren't doing something bad. Everything you did was right and wonderful. It wasn't your fault I had to be like that. I'm just like that. He leaned in closer, hiding his face from view, his lips trailing over to your ear. He whispered, but you love me. You love me. He moved his hand back so his forehead was centered on yours, and then he closed his eyes. He shook. The hand you still held was trembling. I'm so sorry. I really always like this. You are, and you're my little crybaby. You gotta hold him. You gotta hold him in this moment. You pulled him tightly against you. He leaned into your touch desperately. You could feel goosebumps on his skin, and when you rested your chin on his shoulder, you saw that the little hairs on the back of his neck stood up. Oh, I'm giving him goosebumps. Cove managed to bring a fragile smile on his face. He was still shaking, but there was something decided about him now. I love you, princess. I love you. He repeated it more, as if to make up for all the times he didn't let himself say it before. As he spoke, his tears dried up and his breathing became more even. The reaffirmation helped him calm down. Thank you for telling me. Cove's smile was bolder, even as his voice wavered and he ducked his head with a childish shyness. He clearly fought against getting emotional again. Ooh, achievement. Bloomed romance. Ask Cove to be your boyfriend or confess to Cove that you love him. Ooh. Look at me go. Achievement. His watery eyes, is it mused or moosed hair? I don't know how to say that word, but that's okay. The tears still drying on his cheeks. You loved him so much. I need to tell you, you've always been lucky, haven't you? I'm so happy to have done it. You're welcome. It's only the truth. I love you. I need to tell you. I had to tell you. You felt content in that moment. You really wanted to touch him a lot. Oh. I felt content. We don't need to touch. You couldn't help thinking about how happy you were to be with him, how you were certain you wanted to spend your life with him, and you told him as much. Tell him. I hope we get to spend our whole lives together. He's gonna cry again. Cove's expression crumbled again. He wasn't able to tamp down the newest wave of emotion. His eyes watered once more and he took a few heavy breaths. Honestly, this would be me. I would be the one actually crying. I hope so too. We could be together always. Have a place of our own. And kids, and also pets, and also a pet with just the two of us. What if we did have a kid? Also, pets and a singular kid. We'll have multiple pets, one child max. Do you think so? His eyes widened at the picture you were painting. Cove seemed more than a little overwhelmed. Being a dad, the idea of it intimidated him. Of course it did. Are kids something you'd ever be alright with? Cove wasn't able to find the words. Instead, he squeezed his eyes shut and nodded resolutely. Your heart lifted. He was anxious, but he wanted to have a family with you. Aww. You felt warm being able to talk about this openly. You liked to imagine the life you could have together, and now you could do it with him. He rubbed off his scarred arm bashfully. He said that he rubbed it, right? Or rubbed off. I don't remember. You know, I thought having to grow up for real was going to be so hard. I didn't know if I could, but you, well, maybe it won't be that impossible. I mean, I better make sure it's not, huh? I'm looking forward to it. Finally, he was able to laugh softly. The tears were nothing but salty remnants on his cheeks. He brightened up, as if finally able to process the absolute joy of tonight in full. You felt good too, and took a little more time together to simply exist in the new dynamic you had stepped into. Cove looked into your eyes with a soft, slightly shy expression. There was hope in his smile. Do you want to go to the hill with me? I bet there's still fireflies. Sir, right now? Yeah, let's go. You know, you have to shake your head. No, maybe another night. I'm too tired. You know what? Fine. Sure. Sure, why not? Cove brightened. He was practically bouncing at the thought of a secret excursion before he suddenly became bashful. So how should we leave? You could just try the door. We won't have to do the window thing, but maybe that'd bother your family? You both chuckled at how awkward it would be for moms, or worse, Liz, saw you going on a midnight firefly catching trip. You'd be sure to avoid that. I guess we can use the window. Let's go through the window. Cove nodded in understanding. You grabbed some shoes and readied yourself for an adventure. You're glad there was no way you'd run into another soul outside. Cove would be way overdressed, and you were still in your jammies. I think it's just funny, because this isn't the first time we've snuck out of the house together either. We should be doing that a lot, huh? You let Cove go first. He stepped back on the ledge as you carefully followed. He shuffled along, and soon you reached the garage. We have a garage? Maybe we do have a garage, I just haven't been paying attention. You plan to use the fence from there to reach the ground. It's much easier sneaking out at night through my old room. Cove shakily climbed down to the fence and held it tightly with a death grip. He hesitated for a moment and then let himself fall to the ground. He leaned against the fence and projected hushed words up to where you were waiting. Do you want help? Yeah. Yeah. I'm afraid of heights. You got to the edge and let Cove spot your descent. He grabbed you about halfway down and brought you to rest firmly on the ground. Cove gave you an encouraging smile, but neither of you risked speaking yet. You briskly snuck behind the house and up to the old white poppy hill. And Cove was right. The entire hill was lit up, insects twinkling here and there with their pale yellow light. Cove let a contented sigh. Finally able to relax in full, you strode further up the hill to better enjoy the view. You walked along as well, letting yourself be surrounded by the twinkling display. Then, without warning, Cove plopped onto his back. You paid no mind to smacking his formal attire in the grass. You put an arm around his head and stretched the rest of his limbs out. He was clearly getting quite comfortable in the dirt there. You know that shirt plus hair really do give turtle? See? I'm glad someone else sees it. Because I was like, why is he's giving turtle? You kept standing, sat down, you lay down. I'm gonna sit down. I'm not gonna lie in the grass though. You looked down and found a soft looking spot to sit. You brushed some of the longer grass aside and settled in. I wonder if Dad will be mad about the grass stains. Why? Is this his clothes? He took the collar of his shirt. He didn't sound concerned, just idly curious. Maybe you should figure out how to clean it before he finds out? His smile bent a little, and it went silent between you. The only sounds were the rustling of bugs in the breeze, and the faraway crashes of waves on the sea. Oh, bars. You couldn't help but reflect on what happened, only a brief time earlier. Before this in your room, this almost felt like a different world. Was it even real? What happened between you two? You could almost be convinced it wasn't, and that you'd never actually stop dreaming. You stole a glance at Cove. He caught you and blushed. That little reddening reassured you. Cove remembered the same as you. What you had was real. You continued watching fireflies. You wanted to catch some fireflies. You asked Cove if he wanted to catch fireflies. You challenged him to a rolling down the hill. I'm not gonna do that. Cove, you wanna dance? Let's dance surrounded by the lights. Hey Cove, do you feel like dancing? Cove stared at you in shock at the invitation. Understandably, he had not expected that. You felt obligated to try to say more. I think I want to dance with you again. Before it's over. It makes sense to look at how you're dressed now. Before it's over. His mouth fell open a little. You could tell he recognized your words. He had used the same on you many years ago. His eyebrows crinkled and he smiled, speechless. You got up and brushed off your clothes as best you could. A pesky blade of grass tried to stay stuck to your leg. Cove did likewise, wiping his hands on his pants to clean them off. He stayed wiping his hands on his pants. You faced across each other, and suddenly the prospect of what you were doing became more real. Cove hesitated a moment as you both tried to decide what move to make now. He smiled as he wrapped one arm around your waist and the other across your back. He pulled you closer, near enough that your bodies were touching. Then you began to sway together, and amid the floating lights, despite the lack of music, you found a rhythm to your movements. Back and forth, step to the side and slide. Okay, that's weird. It was relaxed and freeing. Your eyes never strayed from one another. For a time, you just existed in the moment, holding each other close and enjoying being together. The hour grew late, and the fireflies mostly dispersed. Until only a few stragglers remained. Then even they blinked out of sight, leaving you alone with Cove and your thoughts. Cove stole a second to release the words that had been filling his head during the quiet. I love you, princess. You felt a great deal of happiness. Cove's expression was completely open, honest, and full of sincerity. He meant every word. He truly loved you. No matter how much it didn't seem real yet, it was. It felt as though this was a night that would never end, but you knew it would have to, all too soon. You were only grateful to have been a part of it. These were moments to truly treasure. You would never let yourself forget them. Okay, we're gonna do this DLC. I'm gonna take a quick drink. For my water bottle. I've been using my water bottle again lately. Okay. Take a quick 1-minute break. And then we're gonna do this DLC, and then I'm gonna call it a stream. My throat's so dry. Tomorrow we'll be doing the same thing, so hopefully I'll be here at 11, not any later. And then we'll do Our Life after Animal Crossing again. It really just depends on what time we do Our Life, because I might have to do Ring Fit tomorrow. I'm not sure. It all depends on the stretching. But let's continue. Let's go. You perched at the kitchen island, whiling away the minutes until your sister joined you downstairs. There is a quiet adventure planned today. Lee was coming down near the Sunset Bird area as part of what she called a little trip. Lee's coming? I've missed her. I've missed Lee. Apparently she thought how nice it would be to go on a private boat trip this summer to celebrate graduation and everything. What might have been an idle dream for most people turned into reality in Lee's hands. That's because she's a Nepo baby, but she's the best kind of Nepo baby. You've been invited along for the ride by your best cousin. It was kind of insane how she could make that happen. You were eagerly anticipating the adventure. It'd be great to see her. The idea of being on a ship worried you a bit. You were pretty mellow about it. I'm happy to see her. I love Lee. You got to chat to Lee over the phone regularly, but it wasn't the same as hanging out in person. This visit was an unexpected treat. You weren't the only one who was heading out on the trip. Liz was coming, of course. Your moms had been invited, but hadn't been able to find the time to squeeze it in. What are they doing? What do they do with their time? Are they still working? Are they retired yet? And so the trip would only involve the kids of the family, a term that had stuck, despite all three of you being adults now. All three of us? Wait. Oh, I was like, who am I missing? I was not counting myself. Mom would have joked about cramping your style, but there was apparently plenty of room on the ship. Lee had been more than happy for you and Liz to bring other friends along if you wanted. But the trip out to Sunset Bird, then even further out to where Lee and the boat would be, just wasn't feasible for most people. Not many folks lived close by. There was naturally one person around who would always be there for the ride, Cove. You were just about to meet up with him outside. Lee had been glad when you told her he'd be able to come along today. Have they met yet? Just as you were thinking about your cousin and her plans for the day ahead, your phone sprang to life. Glancing at the display, you saw that the incoming call was from Lee herself. You answered it without pause. Hey! Hey! She dove straight into the topic, the trip meetup. You could hear the thrill of excitement in her voice. I'm here now and everything's all set. All you gotta do is show up and we'll be off. Woo! She spoke quickly, animated by anticipation. Hooray! You echoed her enthusiasm. Great! Can't wait to see you. Liz and Cove are definitely still on board too, right? Yep. Wonderful. There's still a bit of time before you're due to set off. Is there anyone you want to extend a last-minute invite to? No need to keep the guest list sparse now. It's not like we'll be bumping into anyone else to join in when we're out in the middle of the ocean. Well, there's this new guy in the neighborhood I like. There's a new guy around. I think you might like him. No one really comes to mind. We can invite Baxter. Let's set Lee up. Let's set Lee up with Baxter. They seem like they get along. Ooh, you better invite him then. Alright, I'll do it. No idea if he'll be free, but I can try. I'll let you go. I have to if I want to see you here in the flesh. She uttered the last words dramatically, making them sound more like a threat than a statement. Oh. Laughing, you shook your head. Lee chuckled along down the phone. Bye, Lee. Bye. Now that your attention was free, you looked over to the stairs to see if Liz had emerged yet, but there was no sign of her. You figured you might as well go and see if Cove was ready in the meantime. I should probably go invite Baxter first. Besides, you need to stop by Baxter's place and invite him along. Liz would catch up, you were sure. You go upstairs to let her know the plan. You send her a text. You grabbed your phone one more time to let her know where you'd go. With that, you hopped off the chair and headed out the door. I want bread. I'm feeling like such random food cravings right now. A sunny day greeted you. Shielding your eyes with a hand, you admired the sky. It looked like good weather for heading out on the water. That was something. You heard your name called and turned automatically. Cove was the source of the call. He was standing halfway between his own house and yours. He waved at you as you walked over. So you're in the middle of the street. Get out of the middle of the street, boy. You waited for him to join you. You took a step in his direction. You ran over to him. You ran over and threw your arms around him. Of course I have to be dramatic. Just a little bit, just a smidgen. You tore across the street and pounced on him, wrapping him tightly into a hug. The winded gasp you knocked out of him turned into a chuckle halfway. Hi. Hi, Cove. Ready to go? Cove nodded easily, blinking languidly in the sunlight. Then his mouth curved into a gentle smirk. First jet skis, now a boat? What aquatic transportation device is up next for us? My money's in a submarine. Oh, don't say that. You laughed. It's been an adventurous summer for sure. Cove grinned, pleased that he'd amused you. Cove glanced away, chewing his lip with consternation? Consternation. Never heard that word. Is it really okay for me to come? Of course. You don't even have to ask, right? Cove rubbed the back of his neck, frowning as if trying to work it out for himself. Yeah, I don't know. This is a really ritzy trip, and Lee's your cousin, not mine. I mean, the two of us, me and Lee, are friends, maybe, but it's not like we've ever hung out on our own. I'm kind of worried I'm gonna be out of place. There's no way you can be left out, Cove. She wants you there, I promise. Cove, you're so difficult. Don't you want to go on the boat? She wants you there, I promise. Okay, you're right. Cove managed a small smile. The worry hadn't lifted from his rigid shoulders, but you could tell that he was attempting to project a little more confidence. I'm gonna go. Don't worry. Good. You were satisfied with that. I meant to tell you, I'm gonna be inviting Baxter too. I've gotta check if he's in now before we run out of time. Huh? Really? Cove was stunned. He hadn't been prepared for an extra surprise. He shook it off, however. Alright, it's not like this isn't already gonna be awkward for me. He's joking. Mostly. I'll wait for you here. Okay, Cove, I'll see you in a bit. We strolled over to the condo Baxter was staying in and rang the doorbell. You recall the last time you had been at Baxter's place, but before the memories could claim you, the door slid open. Baxter looked out, his head tilted in interest. I can't. His voice. It's a nice voice, but this doesn't. When I think of Baxter, I don't think of this voice. I think of like a fuckboy voice. It's a nice voice though. Princess, what a surprise. He folded his arms over his chest, leaning casually against the door frame. Is there something I can do for you? When I head out on the boat ride with my family in Cove, we're taking a boat trip right now. Are you on board? So the thing is, we're going on a short trip now. You can come if you want to. You want to head out? Let's go. His eyes widened only briefly before resting back to his usual languorous expression. It was either an impressive show of restraint or Baxter's life involved more impromptu boat trips than yours. Perhaps both. I'd love to. So, you didn't have plans already? That's great. To your surprise, Baxter's mouth curled into a little smirk. Now I want mozzarella sticks. There's too much is happening for me right now. My schedule is always open for an impromptu itinerary. I'm flexible, remember? Yeah, because you're a dancer. Oh. He was not only agreeing to come on the trip, but apparently canceling some other plans in order to make it happen. Baxter was certainly something. Baxter's extra as fuck. Thanks for keeping me in mind. I think this is gonna be fun. He slipped outside. After securing the door behind him, he swept out an arm and indicated for you to lead the way. The first stop was to Cluck Cove. He was waiting, as promised, where you'd left him. Cove, good to see you. Hi. There was no sign of Liz. You took the opportunity to bring Baxter up to date on the plan for the day. He took in your words with interest. Only a minute or two more passed before the door to your house finally opened, Liz framed within it like a portrait. Unlike you, she had no need to shield her eyes with a hand in order to protect them from the sun's bright rays, as her hat was performing the job admirably. Spotting you, she headed straight over. She smiled warmly at you and Cove as she approached. Her attention was then promptly turned to the group's new addition. It's nice to see you again, Baxter. His eyes closed and he bowed his head in a nod ever so slightly. And same to you. Living on the same street had given Liz and Baxter the opportunity to get to know each other over the course of the summer. Oh, interesting. Though she'd spent less time with him than you had, you'd anticipated that she wouldn't object to him tagging along on the trip. I asked him to join us today. Just as you expected, Liz didn't have much of a reaction to the change of plans. She merely raised her brow. Oh. I feel like you and Lee will become fast friends, Baxter. I said the same thing. You laughed, having thought the same thing to yourself. Oh. Baxter smiled politely. With that, your little group piled into the car. It had been decided in advance that you'd all be heading over in Cove's car. Then you all set off to the journey down the coast to where you'd be meeting Lee. Oh, look at the sky, so pretty. You wound down the California shoreline, while sparkling ocean waters on one side and craggy cliffs on the other. The world blurred by until eventually you made it safely to the large harbor. It was a far grander scale than the one near Mr. Holden's shop. 2 boats, 3, even 5 times larger could fit. Liz took charge from there, calling up your cousin to guide you the rest of the way. Lee did her best to explain where precisely the boat was docked. Given that she was doing it without seeing where you were, and it was a good area she was only slightly familiar with herself, and it was an area she was only slightly familiar with herself, she did a pretty good job. It took a bit of fumbling, a little retracing of steps, as your cousin and your sister had different definitions of orange. That was rusty brown, Liz had protested. Okay. I mean, what is rusty brown? Okay. Before too long, you heard her voice calling you, not from the phone in Liz's hand, but over the wind rolling off the ocean. Searching for the source of the sound, you found her in the prow of a ship, jumping into the air and waving frantically for your attention. You'd arrived. Lee dashed from the bow over to your gangway, where you boarded one by one. Look at her, she's so fabulous. I love this. Hi everyone, I'm so glad you got here, okay. You could tell, even if she'd said nothing, her bright grin, as she saw you all, spoke loud and clear. Hi, Lee. You smiled at her, you waved, gave your cousin a high five, you squeezed her in a side hug. Slinging one arm around her shoulders, you pulled her against you. Lee wrapped an arm around your waist and hugged you back. After greeting you, Lee turned to look over the faces of the others who'd be joining you on your ocean voyage. Who's driving this thing? Her attention was immediately pulled to the only one in the group that she'd not met before. Grinning, she approached him. I'm Lee. I'm so excited to meet the mysterious new man on the block. What a coincidence. I was looking forward to meeting our gracious host for the day. Oh, the voice. I was not ready for the voice. But I must confess, it's not that mysterious. I'm rather open. I do hope that doesn't come off as a disappointment. Not at all. I can appreciate forwardness. Welcome aboard. With that, she glanced over at the others. Lee, thanks again for taking us on this lovely trip. Cove hovered awkwardly behind you and your sister, even with Liz's broad sun hat. He was still too tall and the group too small to hide effectively. He made fleeting eye contact with Lee, then looked away. Hi, thank you for letting me come. The boat is cool. He chuckled nervously. Lee smiled, entertained by his bumbling phrasing. Hi, Cove. She giggled as she spoke, unable to hide her amusement. Cove lowered his head. He patted his arm reassuringly. He stood in front of him like a shield. You couldn't help but smirk at his reaction. You rubbed the bridge of your nose. She folded your arms. Pat him. We're all gonna be good. We're all gonna have a good day. You don't have to laugh at him. Cove's little game of hide and seek is pretty funny. He didn't say anything. We're all gonna have a good day. Cove smiled weakly at you. His face flushed. You could tell that he appreciated your show of support, but was still embarrassed about needing the help. I mean, was I helping him, or was I just talking? The floor seemed to give beneath you. As Lee whooped with delight, you realized that the ship had pulled out into the water. Oh, is it like a self-driving ship? It had been so steady while it was moored that you temporarily forgotten you weren't on solid ground. Now, as the boat rocked beneath your feet, there was no doubt you were truly setting sail. The little group dissipated into chatter, or headed over to the railings to watch the ocean. You were ruffled by the breeze, which seemed stronger out in the water than it was back on the shore. That's usually how it is. The floor continued to rise and fall, reminding you of standing in a bouncy house while others jumped. It was refreshing. You were curious about how the trip would go. You felt unsure. It was scary. You were hit with nausea. I'm curious about the trip. As you let your surroundings truly sink in, you thought today was shaping up to be memorable. You were glad that you'd been able to join Lee on this trip. We can really get the party started now. Oh, wonderful. What did you have in mind? Well, the word hung in the air as your cousin stalled. It was clear that she didn't have something immediately in mind. You got any food? I'd go with a snack. Cole's eyes sparkled as he piped up. Can we get out of the boat? Like, go swimming around in the deep ocean? Sometimes you'd swear that boy was part merman, the way he was continuously drawn to the water, but Liz immediately squashed the question. No. Her tone left no room for debate. Baxter chuckled, combing a hand through his hair. I'd prefer to stay on board, too. It's not the kind of boat trip. It isn't supposed to stop anywhere. If someone did end up off in the water, the captain would call the Coast Guard on us. Cove's shoulders slumped at the resounding rejection. That's disappointing. Suck it up, Cove. We'll find something fun to do, Cove. No way am I getting in the water. You didn't call me. The decision was already made. We'll find something else to do, Cove. Truthfully, there isn't that much we can do on the boat that we couldn't technically do back on land. I often take trips with my father in our boat. He's always spends time deep sea fishing. I'm not much of a fisherman personally. Activities that could also be done while not on a boat sound excellent to me. Visibly bolstered by Baxter's support, Lee smiled warmly at him. Huh? My dad doesn't take me fishing sometimes. My dad also takes me fishing sometimes, though we do it on the docks by Dad's shop. I'm not good at it either. Baxter snickered, his expression warm as he looked at Cove. He appreciated the delicate attempt to relate, especially with how standoffish Cove normally was with him. That's the fate of sons with their dads, apparently. How lucky we won't be doing that now. Yeah. Liz nodded. There's nothing wrong with some non-nautical themed activities. We could play a party game for all I care. Yeah, we'll do a party game. You saw her brow furrow just a moment as she mentally conjured possibilities with smooth out as one came to mind. Oh, what about one where something is written down and people give clues and the one person has to guess what it is? Charades? Sure. I'd say I'd play a party game. I'd stand by it. Who's going first? Me, what about rock, paper, scissors decide? We can have an arm wrestling contest to choose. I don't care. You waited for someone to speak. I'm not speaking. Lee propped her chin on her hand, surveying the group. Baxter, Cove, Princess, Liz, then me. Sound good? Her suggestion was met with nods and murmurs of approval. Great! We can get the game going right away. With a devious grin, Lee picked up a pen and notepad from the bar counter. She twirled the glittery pen with her fingers. Lee clarified the rules after Cove raised a wavy eyebrow. Random words would be written down and folded up to give to another player. When it was someone's turn to be a guesser, they would show everyone else the word but couldn't look at it themselves. The other players had to help the guesser figure out what the word was without saying it directly. Oh, I know this game. It's kind of like that one game that you played on your phone. I forgot what it's called, but you'd have it up and there would be a word on your phone and people would be like trying to give you hints of what the word is. And then like if you got it, you like did like tilted the phone down, and if you couldn't think of what it was, you tilted it up. I know I'm being like so I don't remember the name of the game. It's so unfortunate. The other players had to help the guesser figure out which word it was without saying it directly. Each person was allowed to say only one clue. After all the hints were given, the guesser would have to decide. Lee gave each guest at the mini party a piece of paper from her notepad. It was surprisingly thick-lined paper with a little starfish printed on the bottom. She scrounged around to find more writing implements. She managed to dig up a short pencil with an old jelly grip on it, a ballpen pen with a logo you didn't recognize, and a purple crayon. Baxter had a nice pen with him already, so he respectfully passed on Lee's offer. She turned to you. Here, pick one. I want the pen. Yeah. She passed you the pen and then wandered over to Cope to offer him the next choice. You had to draw a scribble in the corner of the paper to make the pen work. The ink was standard blue. After the random selection of words were determined and the papers were passed around, it was time to start. I guess we know who's going now. Baxter fished his paper out from his ripped pants pocket and presented it to the group. Loopy handwriting spelled out the word slide. Oh, kids like it. It's for kids. Kids? Lee bounced enthusiastically, holding out a hand to dictate the short height of the children. Baxter nodded slowly. It's at playgrounds, but not really small ones usually. The playground around our neighborhood doesn't have it, if you've been there. He shook his head, still perplexed. Unfortunately, I have not. Dang. You've been in the playground before though, right? Baxter had to pause to think on it. He shrugged. In my elementary school, I did have recess, but we had sports fields more than traditional playgrounds. For some reason, it's hard to picture you as a little kid. It is kind of. Well, I'd rather not imagine that, so it all works out. Cole placed a finger on his cheek as he puzzled out the game's conundrum. He tapped his face absent-mindedly. It's slippery? You can't really walk on it. Slippery? Every clue lost Baxter even more. He had no idea what the word could be. You sit on it and then go down. It's tall and long, and you have to climb on the top. You can go on it one way, but can't really go up the other way. Baxter, do you know how to do the cha-cha? Not the cha-cha slide. It's fine if you don't get it. I'll let it. Penguins do it on their bellies. I love that one. I was gonna go with this one, but I love this one. Oh, slide. That's it. Slide. Baxter's floundering confidence returned in full force with a broad grin. I got it. He flipped the paper over and traced his fingers across the word. He smirked at it. Thank you very much for the tip, Princess. You're welcome. Liz patted you on the arm with approval. Nice one. You had the magic approach that time. Ko flipped open his paper and showed it to the crowd. He kept his hand on the back of the note so he couldn't see the word, even if light shone through it. In blocky, wobbly text, you read the word potatoes. You pursed your lips together as you thought what you could say. Potatoes. Sack! Oh, okay. Liz turned her head with an incredulous expression while Lee continued her thought. She jumped up, pointing right at the paper Cove had in his hand. You put them in a sack. Cove blinked at Lee, deeply confused. Lee smiled back, full of confidence that he would come to understand eventually. It's a major vegetable you use in croquettes. I want to make croquettes. I want to make croquettes. I don't know what that is. Baxter was earnestly taken aback. You can't help that Cove never grew up fancy. As if Cove just said he'd never had toast before. I had toast yesterday. That shit was banging. Maybe we should change that. There has to be somewhere in this town that serves them, right? I've never had a croquet before. A croquette, I'm sorry. I want to try a croquette. They look so tasty. Liz cleared her throat, saving Cove from having to respond beyond his frown. It's that Mr. toy with different faces and things. Oh, my dad? Cove tilted his head, utterly baffled at the different directions that everyone had taken. What's a Mr. toy? Liz simply shook her head at his lack of understanding. It was your turn to try. They're brown and lumpy. There are sweet versions and regular versions. It's a very common starchy root vegetable. Cove, forget the croquettes. French fries. My mom loves the mash and Ma thinks they're bland. It's a very this is giving it away. This is also giving it away. I would have said French fries though. You gave him a look, sending the right answer right to him while flinging it in the blank Baxter had left. Oh my gosh. Potatoes! I couldn't. Or a singular potato? You're right, yeah. Cove repeated it again with a bright, beaming grin. Potatoes. Cove was so cute sometimes. She couldn't help but feel happy, too, over his victory. Joy. He held his hand out to you for a celebratory high five. You smacked his hand back, you give him a fist bump instead, you just give him a thumbs up. You slapped his hand with a satisfying smack. He nodded, still looking ecstatic. Thanks for the hint. I don't think I would have gotten it without that. You're welcome. Congrats. Now let's go again. You folded the paper given to you, careful not to peek while you showed everyone. Liz leaned in closely with a thoughtful hum. As soon as Leah had a chance to read the word, she jumped up. Dog! There's a popular type of dog, sometimes called that. Ooh. It's where scientists do experiments and stuff. A Labrador retriever. Sometimes it's a secret location. Liz gave Cove an edged look. She probably thought it would confuse you. Oh, I already figured it out. All she had to say was dog, and you had to say what you said. I don't remember what you said, but it's a Labrador. It can be used for photos as well. You gave up. Type in my answer. You're gonna make me spell Labrador. I think that's how you spell it. Hold on. Siri, how do you spell Labrador?
Labrador. Labrador.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Hey, I was right. You turned the paper around and stared at it with a piercing gaze. In tiny, neat letters, you saw the word lab. Fuck. I was right, but I was wrong. I was thinking, oh, those clues were terrible. I really should have gotten that. Well, that makes sense now. Before lab, I was stuck on dog. I was like, oh, it's a Labrador. Duh. I just really love doggies. Before lab just hadn't come to mind. There was so much information to sort through, and nothing had quite fitted properly. I mean, I knew the answer, but I knew it wrong. No worries, princess. It's a team effort, not just you. Not just on you. Let's keep going. Let's keep things going. I'm having fun. Suddenly, the boat tipped forward, and before rocking back harshly, the ship must have gone over a bigger than usual wave. Liz held onto her hat desperately. Lee laughed at her immediate death grip. She loves that hat. You never know what'll happen on the high seas. You chuckled too. Watch out, Liz. You wouldn't want to lose such a nice topper. You had a burst of nausea. You started feeling really freaked out. No, I'm a chuckle. I'm a laugh. You and Lee chuckled together while Liz stuck up her nose. However, your sister was now smiling and her hold had slackened. The game continued with Liz and Lee taking their turns. It was such a good time, you all decided to play a few more games. Liz turned out to be the best guesser, although that could have been because you knew her well enough to give her relevant hints. Lee had to stop herself from answering on the first clue she was given, but no one really minded. All in all, everyone was glad that Lee had suggested the game. Oh! Lee shot you a grin. Why don't we have some drinks? There's a bar on the ship. Girl, we're too young to drink. We're too young. Cole tilted his head in disbelief. Lee continued blithely. Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff behind the counter. I bet one could make whatever they can think of. That sounds like an interesting challenge. Not Lee. Isn't Baxter like the eldest of all of us? There's a lot of different juices and stuff. I think I've seen some strawberry puree and pineapple. The carrot juice sounds intriguing. Oh, it's a juice bar, not a bar. It's a juice bar? Yeah? Liz laughed and tapped Lee on the shoulder. You just said barley. I think you gave the wrong idea. Oops, sorry for the disappointment, Cove. No alcohol is provided by the ship. That's probably required considering the group they've got today. I'm not disappointed by that. I don't want to get drunk on a ship. Have you ever been drunk, Cove? I'm a little disappointed. Lee breezed past the misunderstanding as though it hadn't even happened. I was thinking we could mix them up and get something special. Anyone interested? Cove thought about it, intrigued. Liz smirked and recognizing the potential for chaos. She's a chaos agent. It sounds like a recipe for disaster. It'll be a dream, trust me. So, who wants to make drinks? What? It was your idea. Why don't you do it? I've mixed drinks before. If anyone else wants to try, this would be a great chance. I'm a gracious host. I want to make drinks. Cove and I can make drinks. Come on, Lee, you have to do it. Come on, Lee, you have to do it. I agree with all of Lee's stated practice at mixing drinks. I would appreciate seeing it demonstrated. Alright, I'll take care of everything. She pushed up her non-existent sleeves. It's gonna be super tasty. You won't even have tried anything like it before. Now I'm scared. I can't wait. What are you gonna make? You watch everything play out. I'm scared. I didn't mean recipe for disaster, literally, princess. Oh, come on. It'll be good. You'll see. Watch it be full of stuff I don't like. Anyways, get comfortable, everyone. I'll be back. She skipped out of sight. Liz promptly took a seat on one of the lounge chairs and put her feet up. Let's see what happens. Baxter pulled out his phone. He tapped away at it quietly. You get reception out here? Your lounge chair was close enough that you could make out a game of Sudoku. Code chatted in hushed whispers with you, trying to guess what juices Lee might come back with. He kept mentioning the carrot juice, and you wondered if he wanted some or if he was scared of it. I feel like Cove gives carrot juice energy. He would drink carrot juice. Liz put it in a few times, gleefully detailing absurd-sounding drinks. You had no idea what Lee was actually making, but you firmly doubted it'd be sparkling prune and artichoke juice. How would you get sparkling prune juice? Or sparkling artichoke juice? Would you just add, like, seltzer in there? 'Cause I feel like that's not how you get sparkling things. After a few minutes, you heard the voice of the refreshment provider herself. Hey, everybody! Come here! I definitely did the wrong pauses there, but that's okay. The others shrugged, and you followed them to the other side of the deck. Lee stood behind the counter like a peppy bartender. In a perfect line, she laid out a row of glasses filled with dark reddish purple liquid. Oh, prune artichoke juice seems to be the move here. When you got closer and sat down on the bar stool, you realized it was somewhat cloudy. Ew, what'd you put in here? You picked up a cup and swirled it around the glass. Light barely shone through its thick, murky depths. Time to face the music. It's my treat for the tasting. Liz raised her glass, she put it in her lips and took a small sip. Not bad. Cove boldly downed a large swig and agreed with a pleased nod. Cove. Yeah. It's refreshing. He smacked on his lips together before he took another measured mouthful. Are there berries in here? Ooh, good guess. What is it? It's mostly grape and fresh strawberry mixed with a few splashes of cranberry. Oh, girl, why don't you say that? Tone it down, this bitch. Liz raised her eyebrows and took a slow sip, trying to taste the flavors. Girl, you are not a sommelier. Calm down. Grape, cranberry, strawberry? I don't think I would have guessed that. I love me some grape cranberry juice. Well, I told you it'd be like you'd never had before. You took a sip, you put the drink back on the bar, not wanting the concoction. I take a sip. It's time to sip. You raised a chilled glass to your lips and took a sip. The rich, thick drink lingered on your tongue. You could taste sweetness and a slight sourness that had to have come from the cranberry juice. I wouldn't call cranberries sour. They're like more of a bitter for me. But I love it. I love the tartness of it. I love it. It's pretty good. I love it, girl. Lee beamed at your reaction and took a triumphant gulp of her own juice. Contently, you all stood close together, some still holding their juice cups. Lee's eyes scanned the group and she giggled. This is so much nicer than having to rely on regular phone calls to catch up, right? Before anyone could respond, Lee's eyes widened. The corner of your mouth pulled into an amused smile. Not that I don't enjoy our chats from afar. It's just more fun to actually be here together. We understand. And yes, this is a fantastic little party. Happy graduation, Lee, Princess, and Cove. That was followed by more cheers in celebration of your high school careers coming to an end. Lee even lifted her glass to toast to it. When it settled down, your older sister had one more comment to add. And no one ever had to fight over who gets to use the home phone. Lee threw her head back in thunderous laughter. The smile widened on your face. I remember that. All the times Elizabeth here was trying to push me into being less gaddy. She needed me to just stop so she could call her other friends instead. Hey, many teens have a too cool for family phase. Liz's smile wavered. She crossed her arms, but then her eyes slid over to you. But I do recall Princess being equally as difficult about keeping hold of that phone. Yeah, sometimes you didn't get your turn right away. I'm sure it was a struggle. Liz shook her head and chuckled. Fair enough. Yeah, luckily it's all A-okay. I forgive Liz for being a teenager. They got a hearty laugh out of Liz. You caught a quick chuckle out of Cove, too. At least Princess kept me up to date on what's happening in Sunset Bird those difficult days. I never knew what wild things you were gonna fill me in on next. Lee leaned in merely a step closer. The mischievous look in her eyes had preemptively bracing for whatever she was gonna say next. Like, when you tell me all about your tween romance moments with Cove, why is everyone bullying me and Cove? Cove hung his head with a sigh. Even if Liz had briefly been the target, things always came back to teasing him in the end. But there was a small, bashful smile underneath his embarrassment. Chuckling, Liz gave him a kind pat on the shoulder. I couldn't wait to fill you in on what was happening. Hey, I had to tell somebody what was happening day to day with these people. Liz really missed out on those meaningful conversations. Let's go about your sister. You saw her squish her face up in a jokingly exaggerated way. Sounds like it. I think I'm gonna need you to retell some of those stories. I might be able to do that. It definitely is always fun to stay in the neighborhood loop. Then Lee drank the rest of her juice down to the very last drop. She made her way to the table over by Cove and set her cup down. Actually. Cove watched Lee as his mouth pulled into a lopsided smile. Making these juice concoctions remind me a lot of that smoothie business down at the mall. The one that lets you pick all the fruit that goes into it. That was a good place. Yes, and it was the best, and exactly what I was feeling when I came up with this idea. I'm glad you caught that finally. Sorry, I can take a while to get things sometimes. You all know that. Too true. That's an understatement. You're sharp when you want to be. It's okay, Cove. You're exactly the way you are. I don't have anything to say. You weren't planning on picking a side, so you just watched Cove and Lee's exchange. The moment broke with the sound of Liz's quiet laugh. That was all it took to get Lee laughing, and soon after you all were soaking up the mirth of the moment too. Though, all that aside, we shouldn't leave Baxter out of the loop either. Everyone followed her lead and turned towards the guest for the summer. His expression softened as he shrugged one shoulder. Oh wow, it's true. I wasn't here for these stories. I do enjoy hearing about them. It's nice to only listen sometimes. Is it? Cool. Real mature. Thank you. His gaze traveled from Lee to Liz, and then over to you. He sighed. My cousins aren't nearly as close in age as you are. And as an only child, I'm curious what that kind of relationship is like. I mean, I'm not very close with any of my cousins, so I can't tell you. Oh, I'm with you there. You know what? That's not true. I'm fairly close with my step-cousin. At least I would say so. I enjoy talking to them. Oh, I'm with you there. Only child solidarity. Lee nodded firmly to Baxter and then shot Cove a serious look. He crossed his arms. Alright. Only child solidarity. A genuine smile lit up on Baxter's face. Lee clapped her hands together, pleased at the united front created. I can't. Sharing the same wavelength, you and Liz turned your face to give one another a look. Not breaking your eye contact, she reached over and put a hand on top of your head. That's wonderful for you three. Okay, princess. Thanks. Your siblings? I have multiple siblings? Oh. Your siblings stare. I didn't get that at first. Shuddered into laughter. The others joined in as well. The hours were spent chatting away, sharing stories and favorite memories as the boat drifted out to sea. As time slipped by, the sun hanging low in the sky signaled that it was time to set sail back to the harbor. The more boisterous atmosphere from earlier had settled into a blanket of comfortable relaxation. Liz and Lee were absorbed in the conversation, lounging around on the deck couch. Baxter sat across from them, nodding along, and every now and then you could hear laughter coming from the three of them. There was always smiles. Cove had his arms wrapped around you. You had your arms around Cove. You were holding hands. You were leaning against each other. We're leaning. Chuckling, you put your weight on him a bit more and watched his mouth pull into a bent smile. You sighed contently, soaking in the scene. The ocean breeze picked up and you closed your eyes. When you were ready, you looked back to the deck and the faces of everyone you spent the afternoon with. You never wanted to forget that view. Then looking out the wide open ocean, you committed every bit of the moment to memory. You quietly thought to yourself, today had certainly been an adventure. Oh, that was it? That was fast. Okay. Well, I'm gonna end stream here. Let me just get things situated. Get them situated over here. Beep, boop. Beep, boop. It's about that time. It is about that time. Oh, you know who's on? Lene. Lene is on. They're playing Splatoon 3. There's a Splatoon 3? That's crazy. That's crazy. But we're gonna go over there. So, I'm gonna type in the rating message. If you could ever so lovely copy and paste this into Luna's chat before we raid. Why is this plus sign back? Oh, I'm so tired of Streamlabs sometimes. Okay. Yeah, Luna is playing Splatoon 3. If you're into that, you're into that. If you're not, Saz. Tomorrow, like I said earlier, I'll be back at 11 a.m. EST. Thank you guys so much for joining me for stream. I really appreciate it. Thank you for chatting. Thank you for lurking. Thank you for taking the time to be here in any way, just showing up. Appreciate it. Yeah, and we're gonna head on out. Let me get the raid stuff up. That'd be cool if I could get the raid stuff up. Okay. Thank you guys so much. I hope you have a nice rest of your day, week, month, year, and life. And I hope to see you in the next stream. Bye!